recreational planets. Around these parts, we got high standards. Seeking the truth, wisdom at once. We're coming from the stars above. This is Moonday Tarot, the one and only Kili Volcana. I hope you're ready for some giggles. And of course, we hope you got some wiggles. Strap in and get ready for some cosmic wisdom of ancestral understandings. Moonday Tarot. Bitch, it's Moonday.
Moonday Tarot. Happy Monday. What's up, everybody? Good to see ya. What's up, Kimberly, Cat, Donut? Cool. Got some cool cats. So it's Monday. Happy Monday. Gonna be a fun week. We have the final eclipse in Scorpio, so that'll be fun. Definitely gonna talk about that. This last week was pretty chill, but it's kind of interesting just to watch things kind of begin to play out from the last eclipse. What's up, Cat? So of course, while we're in this window in between eclipses, when we've had the first of two, right? Because there's always a new moon and a full moon, or a full moon and a new moon. You know, sometimes it goes in the opposite order of what we kind of expect. But anyway, as we're in this window in between these two eclipses, it's really interesting to watch things begin to play out and kind of feel this energy building. What's up? Doubling down on grounding. Yeah, Saturday was wild. There was nothing particularly spicy or unusual about the astrological weather of Saturday particularly, but all of a sudden I started feeling like really ungrounded, and it was so crazy because I was outside, I was walking in the grass with trees, there was other people, there was dogs and birds and nature, and yet I was still like really off for whatever reason. So I did exactly what Kimberly just said. I doubled down on some of my practices. And eventually it helped. Eventually it helped. Anyway, great to see you guys. I'm going to pull up the chart and we can get right into it. So a few things happening. Of course, it's May 1st today. Yay. My birthday is on Friday, so that's exciting. The same day as the lunar eclipse. Fun. It's going to be fun. The other kind of major transit that's happening this week is Venus will be ingressing into the sign of Cancer. So that's a really nice and a really soothing and beautiful and nurturing transit. So I like that we'll be experiencing that within a couple of days, really, of the lunar eclipse. Thank you. I have some cool stuff planned, but honestly, really, for my birthday, I like to keep it chill, actually. What's up, Evil Fandango? Yeah, bruh. I know. Honestly, yeah. I like chill birthdays. I've never been a really big like celebration person. I don't get crazy on my birthdays, but I like a little bit of stuff, you know. I like I'm so fucking Taurus. I like having some good food with some close friends and then just chilling. Like, buy me chocolate, I'm happy. So, yeah. Oh no. That was me in the past. Like, this fucking sucks. This year is kind of special though. It's a special year. So 32, on your 32nd birthday, you experience a Venus synodic return and a Mars synodic return. So Venus synodic returns happen every 8 years. So if it's a multiple of 8 year for you, it's a Venus return. Mars synodic returns happen every 15 and then 17 years. So there's this weird kind of sync that happens at 32 where you experience a Mars and Venus synodic return in the same year. So that's kind of that's it's exciting. I'm still trying to figure out what it means, but it's kind of cool. Yeah, that's hilarious. Oh yeah. Oh, I love lobster. Yeah, that would be good, dude. If I had the money to do that, I'd do it. Okay. Yeah, we're just gonna start talking about food right off the bat. Standard. What else would we do? Oh man. Okay. So anyway, thanks, PK. All right. So let's see. New month. New month. Some interesting stuff happening. Oh yes, today is the Mercury Kazemi. I almost forgot. Today's the Mercury Kazemi. Almost forgot. Spent all last week talking about that, and it is today. So definitely keep your eyes open for that message that we talked about last week. If you didn't already receive it. Good morning, crypto. Oh, Fandango. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You're turning 32 this year. That's cool. So this year will also be a Venus and a Mars synodic return for you as well. So that's really sweet. Okay, so on your 33rd birthday, okay. I guess this is what we're talking about now. On your 33rd birthday, so your 33rd birthday is a 10th house perfection year. So it actually becomes a really important year for all things career related. So that's kind of neat. Are you turning 33 this year? What's up, Mel? Yeah. Okay. Notice how fucking uncomfortable I get talking about my birthday. I'm like, yeah, it's my birthday, but we don't have to talk about that. We can talk about anything else. Oh my gosh. All right. But anyway, so Mercury Kazemi today. Kind of exciting. Of course, this is happening in Taurus. We talked about this all last week, so keep your eyes peeled. If you didn't already receive some kind of message from Mercury or from the sun through Mercury, Mercury acting as a messenger, then, oh, okay. Oh, your birthday's on the 16th? Happy early birthday. Anyway, if you didn't already receive that message, maybe spend a little bit of time in some quiet reflection today. Yeah, I wore a green stone today in honor of Mercury for the Mercury Kazemi. Yeah, so that's happening right now. Actually, during the course of this live, I'm pretty sure it will go exact. I can double check that right now if you guys really want me to, but I don't think I need to. Yeah, I know, Kimberly. We're a bunch of young kids, eh? It's so funny. Who was it? Was it you, Kimberly? I was doing a reading with, and they thought I was like 25. I'm like, nah, bro, I'm into my 30s, dude. um. Okay. Anyway, so biggest thing this week, obviously, is the eclipse. So we will definitely talk about that, and then we're going to talk a little bit about Venus into Cancer as well. I'm going to break it down for each of the zodiac signs from the perspective of your rising sign. So, as a reminder, all of the OGs in the chat, you guys know this, but if you are new here, I am a Western tropical astrologer, so I will be speaking from the perspective of tropical astrology. For the sake of simplicity for the horoscopes, I give you guys the interpretation from a whole sign perspective, meaning that each sign represents one house. Yeah, fair, fair enough. Everybody kind of seems young to you. Yeah, I get that. I see high school kids now, and I'm like, they're kids, But when you're in high school, like, oh, everybody's so old. No, yeah. Off topic immediately, of course. Yeah, if you don't know your rising sign, or if that is a foreign language to you, don't panic. You can go from your sun sign. It will be more accurate if you know your rising sign, though. So I highly encourage you to pull up a chart on a free. There's tons of free websites where you can enter in your birth info to find your big three, there as they're called: the sun, the moon, and the rising sign. So anyway, with that said, with that out of the way, let us begin. This is the wrong window. This is the right window. Okay. So I was experimenting with a graphic actually. Trying to make a nice graphic of this instead of pulling up the website itself, but I don't know. I don't know, dudes. I am not a graphic designer. just not. All right. So anyway, this week, this is the map of the eclipse. So I have this set to an Aries rising chart. However, of course, only part of the world will actually see the lunar eclipse. North America, South America, we will not see it on this side of the globe. However, actually, let me bring up the website. My favorite eclipse site. Go to moonblink.info, and you can click on Hermit Eclipse, and it brings you up to the eclipse page. As you can see, I've already clicked this. Gives us the time in UT time, so Greenwich time essentially. So where the eclipse will be seen will be, I'm going to zoom in, East Africa, all of Asia, a decent portion of Russia, not all of it though, and Australia. These guys will see the eclipse. Over in North America, South America, we will not see the eclipse as it is happening in the middle of the day while the sun is up and the moon is not up. So we won't see it. But if any of you are over here on this side of the world, I know I have at least one person that tunes in from Australia. You guys will be able to see it. So lucky for you, I guess. Let's back to our chart. She's getting close to her station. So the Venus retrograde will actually occur in Leo this year. So she's going to go through all of Cancer and then go into Leo before she does her retrograde. Venus gets about, I believe, 48 degrees is her maximum elongation from the sun, something like that. Yeah, basically. So essentially, we will have eclipses when the sun gets to one of these nodes. All right. So once the sun gets to within 18 degrees or so of the node, and we have a new moon or a full moon, then they will be eclipses, because this is the point where the moon intersects with the sun's path, or the ecliptic. So it will always be a new and a full moon, right? A new and a full moon. So it's always in pairs. Now, during the course of a calendar year, right? So Gregorian calendar year, we can have 5, and we can even have 6. 2020, we actually had 6. So it's always in pairs like this. So unless one of the lunations is too far away from a node and it's not considered an eclipse, but it's in the same sign or somewhat close, then you could have just one, and the other lunation, the full or the new moon, doesn't count as an eclipse. But typically it's in pairs. It's always a new and a full moon, or a full and a new moon. Like, it doesn't have to be new and then full. Sometimes it's full and then new, just to be confusing. But it's always in pairs like this. So there's so for example, we had the new moon, which fell at 29 degrees of Aries, and now we're having the full moon. So we had the solar eclipse, now we're having the lunar eclipse. The lunar eclipse happens to be in Scorpio, as the moon is over here in Scorpio and the sun is in Taurus. And then the next new moon, when the moon comes back around and meets with the sun in Taurus, that will be too far away from the node and it will not be an eclipse. But we had 1, we had 2, and then new moon won't be an eclipse. So I hope that makes sense. And then when the sun gets back around to this side of the map, when it's in Libra and approaching the south node, we'll have another solar eclipse, and then we'll have one more lunar eclipse on this axis. So I hope that made sense. Yes, the node absolutely moves 100%. I love it. I love a PK. I love when PK is in research mode because he's got so many good questions. But yes, the node definitely moves. Absolutely. It takes about an average of 18 years for the node to circle the zodiac. It always goes, or I went the wrong direction, it goes this direction. So the node will take 18 years to get back around, so 9 years for it to be flipped. And this is, again, just the intersection point of the moon's path with the ecliptic or the sun's path. So they're not on the same plane. Thanks, buddy. I appreciate that. Yeah. What else can I say about that? Yeah, so if you pull up your own natal birth chart, you can see where your nodes are, right? The nodes of the sun and the moon. They'll be different for everybody unless you happen to be born at like the same time as somebody or within or within 18 years of somebody, right? Because then the nodes will be in the same place. But yeah, so you're welcome, dude. Okay, so let's talk about this eclipse specifically. All right. So we're talking about Sun in Taurus with a bunch of other weird stuff going on in Taurus at the same time. Moon in Scorpio. So the moon in Scorpio is the main focus of the lunar eclipse, as this is the thing that's going to be affected and eclipsed by passing through the shadow of Earth. It's a beautiful sight to behold. So everybody that happens to be in Australia or East Africa and most of Asia and a lot of Russia, if you guys are able to see the moon, definitely go watch it. It's a very kind of freaky and beautiful thing to watch go down. But anyway, so what is Scorpio, right? What is this axis of Taurus and Scorpio? We're talking about, in general terms, sensuality. With Scorpio specifically, we're talking about the intimate bonding that occurs with other people, the transformation and alchemy that also occurs when we bond energetically and emotionally with other people. Just grabbing my cards. In this second decan of Scorpio, okay, so what is a decan? There are 3 decans to a sign, as a decan is a 10-degree stretch, a 10-degree section of a sign. So there's the first decan, second decan, third decan. So this middle decan, since the time of the Golden Dawn, we have taken tarot and astrology and melded them together. And the second decan is considered to be the 6 of Cups. I'm just trying to pull it out of my deck right now. I didn't have it before. Sorry about that. But anyway, the 6 of Cups, there's lots that we can talk about with just this decan and just how this decan works. There's typically 2 planetary rulers to each decan. There's 2 different systems that people will follow. The Chaldean order, which is essentially an ascending, or in this case descending, planetary order of the planets based on their speed. And in that case, this particular decan is ruled by the sun, because you start with Mars. You start with Mars in the first decan of Aries, and it goes from there all the way around. This one is the sun. Or there's another system called the triplicity system, where each decan is ruled by a different ruler of those elements, starting with the ruler of the particular sign that you're in. So in this case, the first decan is Mars for Scorpio, because we're going with traditional rulers. The second decan would be the ruler of Pisces, which would be Jupiter. And the third decan would be the ruler of Cancer, which is Moon. So for this middle decan, we have a Sun and a Jupiter rulership. So this colors this 10 degrees of Scorpio distinctly different from the other two decans. Okay. Um, ho, 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 ho. Yes, they do. Yeah, super fascinating. Okay, so anyway, I'm glad I turned to see that. Yeah, so all of the pip cards have been assigned to a decan. There are 36 decans and 36 pip cards, going from 2 to 10 of each suit. The aces are assigned to each element, generally speaking, right? So the ace of wands is fire, the ace of cups is water, whereas 2 to 10 can be assigned to a specific decan. And it is really fascinating to study the intersection of these two systems and see how they interplay, right? And actually, a significant portion of my tarot interpretations actually come from the decan that is associated with it in astrology. So if you're ever wondering why my interpretations are sometimes a little bit different from what you'll hear, that's pretty much why. It's because I'm using astrology a lot of the time. Okay, so anyway, Six of Cups, also middle decan of Scorpio. So let's break it down, all right? So with this middle decan of Scorpio, all right, uh, it's been associated with the Sun and Jupiter connection, but specifically Scorpionic. So Austin Coppock, a really great astrologer with a heavy focus on magical timing and talisman making. What he calls this decan is he titles it dual distillation. And it's essentially about the deep bonds and the intimacy that we have with one another, and how we can either ennoble or poison the other, especially when we are deeply open and vulnerable. We have to be conscious of the space that we're holding for others and hold it with equal vulnerability. Because when you are so deeply bonded with somebody, the slightest misspeak, even when not maliciously intentioned, right? Just the slightest misspeak or actions or words that are disregarding of the other in some way can turn something that's really beautiful and positive and healthy into something that's poison or toxic. So we have to be really careful about that. So now I want to talk a little bit about the two planetary rulers. So with it being a Sun and a Jupiter decan, well, the Sun ruling this decan really is talking about how we have to be conscious of this process. When we are in relationship, it doesn't matter if it's a romantic relationship, a friendship, a work relationship. It doesn't really matter what kind of relationship it is. There's going to be stuff that comes up. And I saw a very, very potent example of this actually play out earlier this week. I witnessed how one particular work relationship between two people was bringing up childhood wounds in the other, and I just saw a trigger go off, and then a reaction to a trigger, and then it was like bam, 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 bam. So it's so crazy how our most like subtle and non-important relationships can really bring up really old stuff within us that really it's an opportunity for us to make it conscious, bring it to the surface, and heal from it. That is what the Sun in this decan is trying to do, and the Sun ruling this decan is trying to do. So we have to bring awareness to it. We have to have some kind of intelligent intervention in order to navigate it properly. And then Jupiter ruling this decan, well, Jupiter is about the philosophy and the healing. So this is really here to try and help us uplift ourselves through this process. And an interesting word came to mind when thinking about alchemy and the process of uplifting and distillation. I thought of the word sublimation. I'm not 100% sure if that actually applies here, but it came to mind. Now the moon being here and it being an eclipse. For some people, if this is affecting your chart in a very personal way, it could bring a lot lot of fears and anxiety and heavy emotions to the surface, especially considering we have Mars right now, which is the host of this eclipse, since we're using traditional rulerships, and Mars is in Cancer. So actually, that brings me to something that I gotta talk about. Um, so there's actually this really interesting kind of play between Mars and Moon here. So if Mars is the traditional ruler of Scorpio and Moon is the ruler of Cancer, and they are in each other's signs, this is called a what is mutual? Not a mutual aspect. That's not quite the right word. They are. I didn't write it down. I'm blanking on the word right now. Mutual aspect's not quite the exact right phrase, but um, they are mutually like giving each other energy essentially. And this is like you're over at a buddy's house and your buddy is over at your house. You've like swapped houses for the day. And you're on the phone talking to each other like, hey man, what's going on with this crazy thing that's going on in the bathroom? Like, can I help you with this thing since, I have these tools because I'm Mars. I'm a construction worker. Since I've got these tools and I know how to fix this thing, can I like fix your stove? And Moon's like, yeah. Also, why haven't you gotten rid of this old stuff over here, this toxic garbage that's sitting in the corner? Let's compost this. I don't like it. It's uncomfortable. That is the exchange that's going on there. Now, this can be really soothing. It can be an opportunity for healing. And of course, it can be an opportunity for things to go totally sideways. Now, if we bring some conscious awareness to those difficult situations and we alchemize them using this power of Scorpio, using this deeply potent transformational power of Scorpio, then we can come out totally refreshed and totally healed from whatever comes up because of this, right? And I actually, let me rephrase that. It's not that things come up because of astrological events. It's just that the astrological events can trigger and bring things to the surface that need to be addressed anyway. And that's what I would say about that. Okay. Da da da. I will find a way to add the word scorpionic to my vocabulary. Word. Yeah. That's a good one. Now let's talk a little bit about the Six of Cups. Bitch, it's Moonday. What's up? What's up, Chance? So Six of Cups. This is the host of this eclipse, right? So with the Six of Cups, we have in most decks this image of these two children with these flowers and these cups, and it's a really beautiful picture. It brings to mind innocence and vulnerability. And we usually have one of the children gifting the other this cup of flowers, right? It's really beautiful. He's smelling the flowers. It's nice. They're playing. There's no violence anywhere in this scene. Everything's clean and sunny and the flowers are blooming. It's so gorgeous. It really harkens to the highest possibility of this decan and of this dual distillation process that goes on with this middle decan of Scorpio, where we can literally uplift each other. And if we bring a high degree of awareness and maturity into the situation, we have an opportunity to help each other just by holding space for the other and their vulnerability and their innocence and their inner child. We have this opportunity to really assist somebody else with getting in touch with that inner part of themselves, and heal it a little bit, because let's be honest, life on Earth is not very fun. It can be, but we all come into this realm in a fairly traumatic way, and it doesn't, for most people, it doesn't stop there, right? So I think my biggest piece of advice going into this eclipse is be soft with one another, right? Allow Allow yourself to hold space for one another, and allow somebody else to hold space for you, right? Um, One of the images associated with this decan, I believe, hold on, let me see if I have my notes handy. I believe it's an Agrippa image. That might be, that might not be correct, but anyway, it's a picture of a nude woman, and she's about to walk into the ocean, right? She's literally going into this depth that you cannot see into, this scary dark. Oh, see, you came into this realm already traumatized. Exactly. Anyway, so she's nude, showing this aspect of vulnerability, right? Needing to be totally vulnerable, but also trusting in the process of, if she goes into this water, even though there's all kinds of creatures and stuff and fears and anxiety associated with this subconscious realm, with this underwater realm, even though she knows all of this, she still goes into the water willingly anyway, because there's also gold in there, right? There's also gold in there. Okay. Yeah. So depending on where this eclipse is happening in your chart, if you have any personal planets in Scorpio or in Taurus, um, or there's like a sensitive house cusp near where the eclipse is going to happen, you might not feel anything super potent, right? There can be tons of eclipses that occur all throughout your lifetime that don't seem to make any difference on the surface. But that's the key, right? On the surface. For some people, this eclipse will be affecting some really personal planets and some personal points, and they might quite literally see lots of stuff play out for them. But just because you don't see anything like really obvious happen doesn't mean that there isn't stuff happening beneath the surface, right? So just keep that in mind. Also, don't forget to breathe. Don't forget to breathe. Now, because this eclipse, let me bring it back up. Mutual reception. Thanks, buddy. Yeah. Reception. That was the word I was blanking on. Mutual reception. Appreciate that. See, PK's in hardcore study research mode, and I love it. Okay. All right, back to what I was saying here. Now, because this eclipse is happening with the South Node, yes, that is important. So, in modern astrology, we talk about these nodes as the future and the past, and depending on the school of astrology, there's more to it than that. I do personally resonate with that, in that the North Node is definitely situations that maybe are a little bit more uncomfortable, that you're being drawn towards. Now, in Vedic astrology, the North Node was considered to be the head of the dragon, and has this, like, they have a much more malefic and cautionary tales associated with the North Node, because it brings this obsessive and hungry energy to it, where it's like, wherever the North Node is, I need more of that. Whereas the South Node, in modern astrology, it's talking about past life experiences, things that you are really good at because you've already mastered those things. In Vedic astrology, it also has a past life connotation, but it is considered the tail of the dragon, where it's like this drain, like when you pull the plug on a tub of water, and that's very appropriate for it being in Scorpio. It's kind of hilarious, but anyway, when you pull the plug on a tub of water, it's like a drain, and they consider it, in Indian astrology, they consider it to be the point in your chart or in the transiting chart where we have to spiritualize these matters. And I think it's a little bit of both, right? So I consider it in both ways. So as far as the South Node with this lunar eclipse is concerned, this is, by multiple accounts, considered to be ending something, completing something, getting rid of something. Especially with it being Scorpio, there's a need to purge and release, right? Especially with this idea of spiritualizing what's on the South Node, and with it also being a full moon, which lends this idea of completion, right? With a full moon, it's like a culmination. And then with it being in Scorpio, which is often associated with the genital region, but also the rectum, where you're literally purging toxins. So multiple layers here are leading me to think, okay, this is definitely about getting rid of something, releasing something. Considering the decan that it's falling in, considering that Mars is in Cancer, there's a hugely emotional component to this particular lunation, right? To this particular astronomical event that we are now analyzing through the correspondences. Which is a really flowery way of saying astrology. Okay, so hugely emotional components. Definitely lots to say here about healing and releasing and moving through past traumas, right? Now keep in mind this is again the last lunar eclipse in Scorpio until the nodes come back around and we have the north node in this sign in 9 years. So we're definitely like ending a big phase here. But at the same time, we have had solar eclipses on this axis as well, right? So no matter what is being ended or completed for you, at the same time, there's something new being planted there. There's something new that has already been planted there, and further seeds that will continue to be planted there later. So don't think of anything as an absolute ending, even though there's all of this like endings associated with in multiple layers in one particular eclipse, because the chart doesn't stop moving, time doesn't stop moving. There's going to be there's always more layers and more things. And in addition to that, I'm sure most of you know, because I'm sure most of you are gardeners, how do you improve the soil quality? You add compost. What is compost? Dead material. Yeah. The strangeness has already begun. What's up, Jack? Good to see you, buddy. Blame it on American Gator. How dare you? Oh man. Yeah. Yep, 100%. Yeah, so exactly. So even though you don't have any personal planets in Taurus or Scorpio, because the MCIC axis is there, it will be activating a sensitive part of your chart, right? So there is something going on there, and we definitely talked a little bit about that in your reading that I did with you. Okay. Compost alchemy. Dude, 100%. Really? Yo. Yo. So for those of you who don't know, one of the first talks I did with Chance, who is the person leaving this comment here, was about psychic attacks and psychic vampires and shit. So that's fascinating. Was it the person that we talked about too? Because that would be really wild. And yeah, I got some personal stuff to share about that. So personal planets include Sun, Moon, Mercury, and Venus. Those are the personal planets. Okay, lots of questions. I love it. I love it. I love it. Oh my gosh, we've been going for 40 minutes and I need to stretch already. Whew. Okay. Alrighty then. Yeah, so kind of an intense energy, not gonna lie. Of course it was the same Scorpio. Yeah, fair enough, Chance. Fair enough. Kind of an intense energy, kind of an intense eclipse. Um, but there's a lot of really beautiful opportunity there too, right? Oh, I like that. Yes, yes. Now we are trading tips for yes. I'm so glad. I'm so glad you brought this up, Chance. So oh, that's cool. I like that. Yeah. Anyway, I'm really glad that you brought that up, Chance, because that is one of the things that I wanted to bring up with this that I have in my notes here. Not necessarily specifically psychic attacks, but the heavy not heavy, the ultra sensitive nature of this particular chart, right? With the Moon Mars interplay in Scorpio and oh my gosh, in Scorpio and Cancer, it's extremely psychically sensitive, that energy. Just the interplay, the mutual reception between Moon and Mars, when Moon has so much to do with our energetic body and our emotional awareness, and then being in Scorpio, it's like really intensely aware of all of the emotional things. And Moon is very spongy in nature, so it picks up lots of stuff. And then having Mars in Moon's home and this trine aspect between them, the mutual reception. Mars brings this piercing energy, this ability to cut through. So just having these two planets in aspect in a mutual reception in a chart like this on an eclipse night, it's like definitely be protecting yourself psychically, right? Ground down, ground into the earth. And if you need to use visualization practices or any kind of thing because you feel yourself be unsteady for whatever reason, especially if it's really sudden and you don't know where it's coming from, that's often, okay, I won't say often, that is sometimes an indication that there's something else energetically going on. So different visualization practices, different grounding practices, different clearing practices. There's lots that you can do. My shield is Kevlar. Word. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I like that. Yeah. You guys are awesome. I love Sarian. I like that visualization, like diamond skin. Opal's really cool, though. I think that's cool. Yeah, and considering, I mean, just considering Saturn being in the sign of Pisces right now, this is a huge opportunity for us to be practicing these energetic and psychic boundaries. And it's really easy when you're just learning how to do this and you haven't made it a habit to forget, right? Just to forget, and all of a sudden you're really drained while doing tarot readings at the bar. Speaking to myself right now. And yeah, it's easy to forget. So never give yourself a really hard time or guilt yourself or shame yourself for forgetting to do something like that. Just stop, take a couple deep breaths, and re-engage, right? I love, if I feel like somebody is one of my favorite practices is if I feel like somebody is trying to hook into my energy in some way. I actually read this in Psychic Self-Defense by Dion Fortune. I cross my ankles. So so my legs are closed and my ankles are crossed. I'll link my fingers like this. And then I will actually visualize like a brick wall in between me and them. Like, oh, fuck you. You shall not pass. And I really like the image of building the brick wall in my mind. It's kind of like, oh, okay, I see you're trying to be a little bit not cool right now. So good to go. I really like the idea of a mirror, bouncing it back to them, and they become oftentimes they become aware, even if just subconsciously they become aware of what they're doing and what they look like while they're doing it. They'll stop. I like picturing globes of light, spheres of light. I like doing that one. What else do we got in the, I like this, that's fun. Also listen to great fairy fountain music. Yeah, absolutely. Legend of Zelda mirror shield. Yup, that's a good one. um yeah, so There's a ton of different practices that you can engage with if you really feel the need to. So use what's right for you, use what works for you, and if you find those things not working, try a different approach. But keep in mind that some some of this energy that's coming through right now is for us to transmute in some way. This whole middle decan of Scorpio is about alchemy. It's about alchemizing. The whole fucking sign of Scorpio is about that. Okay, let's be real. That's what Scorpio is. But yeah, I actually found somebody that read it and posted essentially a free audiobook version of it on YouTube. That was it was an occult radio show host that Juan was on recently. Oh, Scorpio rising. Word. Yeah. Okay, hold on. I have it saved in one of my things here. No, not Cheney. It wasn't on Cheney. Lighting the Void radio. Lighting the Void radio. So he did a read through. Yeah, Lighting the Void. Like, boom. Thanks, PK. So anyway, he did a read through of the whole book with a little bit of commentary, using some of his own insights from what he's learned. Yeah, yeah, and yeah, take what you read with a grain of salt, right? And remember remember to put yourself into the time period of when these things were written, right? Like especially when you're reading like ancient astrology and all of these old fucking books, you got to keep in mind the cultural context of when it was written. And you don't have to you don't have to listen to absolutely everything that they say, but there's some excellent tips in there with that book specifically, that I have used and definitely work. Okay. Yeah, 100%. All right. So anyway, is there something? Oh yeah, Venus and Cancer. Oh my gosh, let's talk about Venus and Cancer real quick, and then we'll go through the signs. So Venus and Cancer. Why is this so beautiful? All right, so we've been experiencing this Venus and Gemini energy, which is really fun. It's kind of sparkly. It's a little bit all over the place. It's like I just want to try all of the flavors, right? Yeah. Yeah, well, yeah, stuff that wouldn't fly, but also if we have a different understanding, or or a deeper understanding of a certain topic that they're writing about, or more context, um, then we might find ourselves not agreeing with everything that's in the book. But that's okay, right? That's the process of discernment. Being able to read something and entertaining a thought without completely accepting it and then filtering it through your own discernment process. Okay. Word. All right. So anyway, back to Venus and Cancer. So we've been having this Venus and Gemini energy, which is really fun. Um, Definitely has assisted with writing with a bit more flair, or learning with a bit more flair, or just encouraging us to go out into the neighborhood and try different things in the neighborhood, for example. Um, yeah, exactly. Take what works, leave the rest. But also, if you're challenged by an idea, consider that maybe consider what the other side has to think about it, or what the other side has to say about it before you completely dismiss it. I think this is another really beautiful gift that we've had from Venus and Gemini. We had this really gnarly Mars retrograde through the sign of Gemini. and we saw a lot of polarity, a lot of polarization. And then with Venus moving through Gemini and going over through those same degrees that Mars did his old his Mask of Zorro thing through, um, we've had an opportunity to, maybe you've been presented with a few ideas that are a little bit different than yours, or maybe you've had an opportunity to approach a conversation that before maybe you couldn't because things were too polarized. Maybe you have had the opportunity to be like, okay, hey, here's my side of the situation, and like, why do you think the way that you do? Posing more questions and trying to find the common ground before just immediately going off in your own direction, right? But anyway, it's a flirtatious energy. But yet, Venus actually prefers nighttime signs. So nocturnal signs. So earth and water. So her being in fire is fun, but or being in Gemini rather is fun, but it can be a bit what's the word? Drying. It can be a bit drying for Venus. Venus is moist and cool, whereas air signs in general are warm and dry. Hmm. Yeah, totally, Ruma. Okay, so anyway, so Venus moving through fire and air signs is a little bit drying for Venus, which is not necessarily a bad thing, right? This is not about good or bad. It's just about like she can't express herself in Gemini in the same way that she can in a water or a an earth sign. So Venus moving into Cancer is really beautiful for a lot of reasons. Cancer has this energy of nurturing, right? And bringing people together, tribes and families all have this Cancerian energy. And Venus is about comfort and beauty and harmony. So to have the goddess of love and beauty and harmony moving into the sign of families and tribes, oh, you can feel the difference, right? The first decan of Cancer, actually, the first 10 degrees, is ruled by Venus. So as soon as she enters into that first decan, it's like she's being welcomed home in a particularly interesting way. That first decan is the Two of Cups, and if you're familiar with tarot, that Two of Cups is really about coming together, right? New, not necessarily new love, but the ability to share with another person or another party, really, the matters that are closest to your heart. So right on the tail of this kind of emotionally intense eclipse, we also have this immediate softening effect of Venus moving into Cancer. So kind of nice, and I'm looking forward to it. Okay, I have talked for an hour now about that stuff. Whew. Let us move into the horoscopes. Da, 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 da. So, for those of you unfamiliar, I like to go backwards. I start with Pisces and then move through to Aries. And I will be talking about specifically the eclipse, since that's probably the biggest thing on people's minds. And once again, this is from your rising sign perspective. What's up, Charlotte? Came you just in time, girl. Rising sign perspective. And of course, if you don't know your rising sign, you can go from your sun sign if you need to. That's me every time. I'm like, holy shit, it's been an hour and a half. It's been 55 minutes. But yeah, that happens. I don't know. I think I like accidentally hypnotized people. Next thing you know, it's been 2 hours. Like, oh, whoa. All right. Yeah, and to think like there's still so much more that I can go into with this specific degree, and there's so much detail. Oh, by the way, Jupiter's becoming visible this week. Almost forgot. So Jupiter's becoming visible. Depending on where you are in the Earth, you will see it sooner or later. But start looking in the morning skies if this is something. Oh, thanks, buddy. If this is something that interests you and you're up before the sunlight, look in the morning sky to see if you can see Jupiter rising in front of the sun, because he's now a morning star and is being reborn, da, 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 and bringing his light back to the world. So that is something that you could start seeing potentially as soon as tomorrow morning. So um, if I happen to be up before the sun, I'll be going to look. Yeah, alrighty. Yeah, I've heard there are some audiobooks that pay decent money. I think that would be a fun thing to do. Oh, what is up? We be vibing. Lacey in the house. Alrighty. So now let's talk about this eclipse from the perspective of Pisces. Alright, so Pisces, for you guys, this eclipse is happening in your ninth house. So for the Pisces rising people specifically, this is not happening on a very sensitive axis. However, the third and ninth axis is still an important one. They all are. I would never say that any particular house is not important. With the ninth house, this could be shifting. This could be shifting your belief structures, really. Ninth house has a lot to do with our beliefs, and the teachers and the gurus that we like to follow, or the teachers that we become ourselves. So this eclipse could be making some subtle shifts, some subtle adjustments with who you follow as a teacher or who you consider to be a guru, and especially if you're not liking the results, right? Because keep in mind this dual distillation nature of this particular decan. There's always an interplay of energy. So if you're not liking the results of the the energetic infusion that you're receiving from a teacher or from something that you are teaching about, right? Then perhaps there's some changes that need to be made, right? And that could be changing your beliefs, right? It could be changing, I guess a multitude of different things that are related to that. Venus will be entering your fifth house. This is Venus's favorite place to be. It is considered to be her joy, the fifth house. Why? Well, the fifth house is about creativity, romance, hobbies, artistic pursuits. It is the house of fun, and Venus loves all of these things. So the Venus in Cancer transit is going to be really fantastic for you, Pisces rising. So definitely make the most of it. Yeah. Dun 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 dun. Open my comments back up. Yeah. All right. What do we got for you, Pisces? All right, so Pisces, you got the Two of Cups, the Hierophant, and the King of Wands. So there's Venus ingress into Pisces, or Venus ingress into Cancer right there. That's literally the card that represents that first decan of Cancer. The Two of Cups, the Hierophant, which represents Taurus, and the King of Wands, which actually represents, the King, not the Queen. The King of Wands, which actually represents Leo. So anyway, interesting. Two of Cups, Hierophant, and the King of Wands. I would like to say right off the bat that just this week is going to be a highly fruitful, highly fertile week as far as creativity goes, especially. What's up, Jenny? Jenny in the house. Okay, so anyway, the Hierophant brings this deeply embodied knowledge base. I really feel like the Hierophant leads by example, and rather than telling people the secrets or telling people their wisdom, they will show you their wisdom. So Pisces, perhaps that is something that you might be focused on right now. In addition to that, for some of you Pisces, for some of you, perhaps not all of you, but for some of you, there is this desire to bond with someone in a more traditional manner, right? The Hierophant can be talking about traditional ways of doing things, and paired that with the Two of Cups. Well, he's like wise but bad. Why would he bad? Why is he bad? Why is the Hierophant bad? Because it looks like the Pope. Curious. But anyway, it can be more traditional ways of doing things. So I'd be really curious to see if there's any Pisces that are planning to get married. Or do some like even an older kind of tradition like a hand fasting ceremony. That would be really cute. Oh, interesting. Not necessarily. I mean, all of these figures in the tarot can be either, really, depending on the context. I don't see him as a malevolent dude at all. Now, personally, how I feel about the Pope, totally different. But yeah, it's the priest class, which definitely can come with its all sorts of host of issues, right? And like power and control issues. But I would want to see the Hierophant paired with something like the Devil card, or something like the Hermit reversed or something like that, to be like, oh, it's a bad dude. Um, but that's me. Other readers will have different ways of reading it, or like the Seven of Swords. Even Seven of Swords with the Hierophant would be like, that's a lying motherfucker. But okay, anyway. That's not going on for you right now, Pisces. So there's something really beautiful and really sensual about this week, and I think that some of the astrology is really going to kind of kick you kick you in the pants a little bit and ask you like, are you yeah, okay, totally. I don't think the Pope is a good dude. I don't like the Vatican, but this this card is not necessarily that. Tarot is older than that. All right, tarot is way older than that. Um, and the images have been Christianized, but that does not mean that we have to go with those interpretations, does it? Okay, so anyway. Fuck, what was I saying? Oh, yeah, so with this eclipse and with Venus changing sides and stuff, you might be questioning, like, quite literally, who are you following and who do you consider to be a teacher? And are the fruits of what they're teaching, is that something that you actually want to embody yourself? Or, is there some kind of way that maybe you need to take more of a leadership position? Is there something that you want to teach us, something that you want to show us that helps you feel inspired? I could see this kind of a week really reigniting romance for you. I could see this kind of a week really reigniting any kind of creative project, right? Romance doesn't have to be with another individual. It can be, the love that you make to your leather projects, or your painting canvas. I remember seeing Ghost Live. I was like, what the hell am I watching? Um, yeah, that's a thing. I'm going to withhold comments for now. I just turned a bunch of my cards around in my deck. So just give me a quick second, guys. I gotta flip them around again. I started doing this thing. I saw Rachel do it. And ever since I saw that, I was like, I like that. I'm doing that now. She will turn all of her cards facing one direction. And then, as she's shuffling, if something comes out reversed, it was definitely meant to be reversed. Oh, what's up? Speaking of Rachel, hey. Speaking of Rachel. Anyway, so, so I accidentally shuffled them and made them all go fucked up. So just give me a quick second here while I fix them. And in the meantime, sup, Rachel? That is annoying. Okay, there we go. Oh, what's up, Chris? The King of Cups in the house. Hey, your birthday's coming up pretty quick. Yeah, I like it. It's a really, I think it's a potent practice. I've only had a card come out flipped, like very, very flipped a couple of times since I started doing that. And it was like very obvious that it was definitely supposed to be reversed. And then it made a lot of sense. And it was almost like it was more impactful, because of that. And yeah, exactly. PK. I'm not surprised either. Okay, Aquarius. All right, all right. So Aquarius. Dun, 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 dun. So for you guys, this eclipse is happening in your 8th house. Gotta hit the button. So, oh geez, 10th house. My bad. Wrong way. So Aquarius, lunar eclipse in the 10th house. So for you guys, this axis is bringing to light, right? It's bringing to light your work and home life balance, right? First layer of meaning, 10th house is talking about your career or your public image. So in some sense, there is something coming to some kind of completion and ending, perhaps, with a job that you're doing, some kind of position that you hold, perhaps. Maybe you're actually receiving a promotion, which would be really interesting, because that would be a really interesting way to end one phase of career and go into the next, right? Um, yeah. But now keep in mind that, or alternatively, or in addition to, rather, there could be something going down with some employees. Say you own a business or you're a manager or in HR or something like that. The 6th house, where Mars is, the dispositor for this eclipse. Because he's in the 6th house, and the 6th house deals with employees and your day-to-day routine, there could be some really big shifts going down, specifically because of some stuff that's going on with employees, or perhaps there's something coming up, maybe health-wise for you, that's making you need to shift gears a little bit in your career. So not at all bad things, right? Not at all bad things, but there could be some incredibly emotional aspects to this. So just keep an eye open for that. And remember to stay grounded, of course. Now, Venus moving into the 6th house is going to be very soothing for you. The 6th house is not a particularly easy house to deal with. And with Mars having been there, I could see this actually being, well, first of all, Mars actually rejoices in the 6th house. So you just having a busier schedule, a fuller schedule, is the most likely way for Mars in the 6th house to have been playing out. But now Venus moving here is going to soothe some things for you a little bit. It'll be like applying a balm if there's been any aggravation or inflammation. Venus coming into Cancer is like a soothing balm being applied, and physically, literally, or metaphorically, right? So there's that. Ooh, that's really exciting. That's really exciting. And yeah, you're just as magical, okay? Okay, so Crypto Tales. I have a show this week in Vegas and a possible partnership with a production company. Ooh, hoo, 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 hoo. Gotta know what your rising sign is, bruh. Um, yeah, dude. The full moon's on my friggin' birthday this year. I'm stoked. Okay, so anyway. What was I saying? So work stuff, employment stuff. Pretty seems pretty straightforward for you guys. Um, yeah. So what do the cards say? I got the Four of Cups, the Two of Wands. Oh, so Four of Cups can be an Ace of Cups. Sick. Okay, so the Four of Cups can be talking about some kind of stagnancy, right? With the fours, we've reached a level of stability. We've reached a level of there's 22 in the chat right now. That's kind of cool. We've reached a level of evenness and stability and all of that kind of stuff. However, we're at a point now where there needs to be something that comes in that shakes things up. Because especially with the Four of Cups, this can be getting really comfortable with how things are. And if we're too comfortable, we can get complacent. If we get complacent, that's when things start to go kind of sideways. So the Four of Cups is really indicating to me that, especially when it comes to career and that kind of things, that there's been some stagnation. Um, and perhaps you're a little bit too comfy. So something is about to shake you up. Then we got the Two of Wands. So this is really interesting. This water and this fire energy. The Four of Cups is a Cancer card. The Two of Wands is an Aries card. These are naturally square to each other. With the cups, with the Four of Cups, this is essentially about wanting connection and about wanting bonding and needing nurturing. That's essentially what water brings us together. Whereas the fire, this is about pulling away from that group or from a group or from that connection in order to do your own thing and individuate and be a leader in some way. The Two of Wands is about wanting to start something totally new, totally unique. Stepping out on your own in order to do that. Um, so I think this week there'll be a need to balance a little bit of both, right? Doing your own thing. It's hilarious. I just realized I'm talking to Aquarius. Being an individual, doing your own thing, doing the path of the individualist, but at the same time, not forgetting about the connections that you've made along the way and offering. Oh, that's so cool. Yeah, not forgetting about the connections that you've made along the way and offering love where not just offering love, receiving affection when it's being offered. Um but it's almost like there's it's so funny. Okay, we've got this very individualistic fire card in the middle of these two very water cards. Um they're very different elements. They're very different feelings. Yeah, and yet at the same time, both have to do and relate to creative energy in some way. It's just a totally different way of applying that creative energy. So it's almost like you've spent quite a bit of time now doing the downward and in journey, right? Especially with all of that stuff happening in your fourth house. Let me bring up back the chart for you for a moment, especially with all this stuff going on in the fourth house and with the node being here and the eclipses being in this axis. You've done a lot of this. right? You've been doing a lot of the fourth house jam, um, been going into some of your deeper emotions and really establishing roots somewhere for yourself, or trying to establish roots from somewhere for yourself. For some of you, this has been about diving into the your ancestry, but now it's like you need to do focus a little bit more on some of the outward and upward activities, some of your reach, right? Where you want to go with it. And um, once there's some balance there between both the upward and out and the downward and in, it's like boom, Ace of Cups. That's kind of nice. Then there's an additional cup that's brought to you, an additional sense of emotional fulfillment. Um, but it's dependent upon you doing the Aquarius thing and going your own way for a little bit, right? It's like that's really cool. It's like you can't, there's some offer or some emotion maybe that's not accessible right this second. But as soon as you go off and do your own thing for a minute, bam, there it is. There it is. It's like you have to step outside of what's comfortable and what feels nice. And as soon as you do, there it is. So don't be afraid to be uncomfortable, Aquarius. That's what I'm saying. Capricorn. So for you guys, this is your 11th house, Scorpio. So with the eclipse happening in your 11th house, dun dun dun, this 11th, 5th axis is being highlighted. So when it comes to the groups that you belong to, all right, this has been a big question for the last year and a bit, I'd say. Well, as the nodes have been moving through this axis, the groups that you belong to have been definitely in question. Like, do I really belong to these groups? Do I really align with everything that's going on with these groups? And this can actually, really be applied to a number of different groups. And if you're a Capricorn rising, you'll probably understand exactly what I mean. Personally, as the nodes have been moving through here, I've noticed in myself as a Cap rising, just to give you an example, I've noticed in myself like realizing that I didn't identify with one group, finding another, realizing the same thing, finding another, realizing the same thing, finding another. It's been this continual process of shedding different group identities, trying to find myself. that's how this opposition has been playing out for this particular Capricorn rising, right? But anyway, it's like there is, and this will also deal with contracts. It's really interesting, actually, how we can be introduced to totally different groups of people based on one connection that we make, right? Entering into a partnership with one individual, all of a sudden you're plugged into a whole new network of people. And if there's toxicity there, right? Let's go back to this theme of Scorpio and this dual distillation of this decan. If there's toxicity there, if there's anything going on that is not good for you emotionally, energetically, spiritually, then how good are your boundaries, Capricorn? Uh, how good are your energetic, emotional, and physical boundaries? Oh, the cards just did it again. Oh my gosh. Nope, I saved it. I saved it. Yeah, so how good are your boundaries? And being that this is an eclipse, there might be different groups that are eclipsed out of your life, right? Occulted out of your life. And that's not a bad thing. Because remember, every time that we release something, especially with an eclipse cycle, something new comes in. So, just always keep that in the back of your mind. And you never know what kind of new partnerships, new business partnerships, or new maybe like consulting opportunities or formal arrangements can be had just by switching up the groups that you are engaging with, and just by meeting different people. So could be a lot of flux and change in these areas. One of the things that I would say specifically for Capricorn rising is that if this doesn't have to deal with like your friend groups or your network circles, then the 11th house can also be talking about your long-term goals, your wishes, and your hopes and dreams, that kind of stuff, right? So you might find there's this interesting theme with Scorpio, okay, of hunger and desire, and that weighs more heavily in the first decan. We get this hunger and desire, and we're asked, how ruthless are you going to be in order to chase that desire? How what are you willing to do to achieve it? Right. And then in this middle decan, there's still a hunger, there's still a desire, and it's usually a hunger for a deep union, right? That's what the hunger kind of shifts into. Like, all right, I'm still hungry, but now I want to do it with somebody else. now I want to eat a meal with somebody else. But anyway, so as you're kind of like thinking about your long-term goals, your wishes, your dreams, and all that stuff, perhaps there is a significant partner that changes some of those goals, or helps you achieve some of those goals. And now that they're finished, now you have to think of a new one, right? What's the next desire? What are you moving on to? Oh, what's up? What's up, JLo? Oh, music festival. Interesting. Fandango, I forget what your rising sign is. Okay. So, all right, Capricorn, what do we got for you? Oh, Scorpio rising. Okay, word. Right, you said that earlier in the stream. I forgot. Okay, Capricorn. So, what do we got for cards for you guys? Do you know where your Mars is placed? All right, I gotta focus. Capricorn. What do we have for Capricorn? Oh, I almost forgot, Cap. Venus is moving into your 7th house, right? So Venus is moving into Cancer, your 7th house. Really beautiful. If there have been rough patches lately with a partner, Venus can help you smooth some of that over. If it's meant to be smoothed over, obviously. And this can obviously go for business deals as well as like romantic long-term partnerships type stuff. Okay, so really nice. Venus in the 7th house, a super visible Venus in the 7th house. Love it. Woo. Why the tight lips, Capricorn? Let me in, please. Oh, there it is. Oh, the Empress showed up. Badass. Okay, what else? 6 of Wands. One more thing. What's going on this week? like that Venus showed up. That's really cool. I think just just off the top of my head, I'm like, ooh, yeah, visible Venus in the seventh house. Of course, the Empress is showing up. This energy is going to be even more active in your life, Capricorn. So this is the archetype, okay, of the divine feminine energy. It is about knowing your worth, knowing your value, um, allowing things to be attracted to you, right? It's about tempering your desire a little bit so that you're not going so far into the sweet things that you overdo the sweetness and it becomes toxic. But tempering that enough, tempering that a little bit, um, while not losing that abundance mentality. The Six of Wands points to victory, something something that has been challenging you, something that has been annoying you or aggravating you. You're now being seen as the victor in this situation. I love the Six of Wands. It is Jupiter and Leo. Actually, it's the middle decan of Leo, so it's literally all about being the king of a freaking mountain, and being celebrated as such. So that's kind of cool. Seriously, what's the last card? Come on, you guys. Capricorn, what's going on? There it is. And the Ace of freaking discs. I love that. Okay, so you're getting a gift this week. Some kind of gift. You're feeling really nice. You're looking really nice. Taking better care of yourself, perhaps. Then the Six of Wands is literally victory. Taking your oh, sweet. I like that. So Charlotte says, Cap rising husband doing a very important project. The project managers initially tried to go with another company and then came to you, the husband, to come and save the day. So the other company fucked it up and he had to go and save it. I love that. And wraps up Tuesday. I love that. I hope that he gets paid handsomely for his work, especially since he had to fix somebody else's mistakes. Oh man, when companies try to cut corners and save money by going with a cheaper undercutting offer, it almost always backfires. So it's really cool. It's really cool that they came to him to do it right. That's actually so badass. So I hope that you guys get a nice handsome payout for that, okay? Also I love that he got to be the victor in that situation, so that's kind of cool. That's kind of cool. So yeah, thank you for sharing that, Charlotte. Appreciate that. Okay, so anyway, Capricorn, this is really beautiful energy, right? This is absolutely hell yeah, that's good for his reputation. So that is badass. Um These are really beautiful cards, Capricorn. I really hope that you enjoy this week. Whatever this eclipse is bringing in for you, it's obviously actually helping you to see your true value and your true worth. There's something inherently victorious or confidence building about what goes down this week, about how you respond to different events that are occurring. And at the end of the week, there's some kind of gift or boon or surprise or gift. Literally, I said gift twice, but I guess I'm just excited about my birthday. Um, something, something really nice coming in. Um, like literally a nice payout, as Charolais was talking about. Um, or something else. It could be lots of different things. But the Ace of Pentacles is often talking about some spark or an offer or an initiation of something specifically to do with the 3D physical realm. So we're talking finances for you, Capricorn. So I like that. And I hope that you can subtly assist him with that and be like, hey, Kaylee says you're the goddamn empress, so demand what you're worth. You can tell him I said that, okay? Um, Yeah, and there's something else about like if you're too scared to ask for what you're actually worth, you're never going to get it. When it comes to work situations, when it comes to when it comes to work situations, you often don't get raises unless you ask for them. And people that ask more often for raises get raises more often than others. This is basic facts. Um, so when you're running your own business, uh, it's it's important to charge appropriately, right? So anyway, Capricorn doesn't really need that lecture, but maybe they do. Right? Maybe they do. Maybe they do. So there you go. Um, yeah, freaking, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. I don't have anything bad to say. I like it. It's a Sagittarius. We're at the hour 30 minute, so I'm just gonna do some quick stretches real quick here before I start talking about Sag. Do 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 do. So actually, we'll just take this moment to remind y'all to happily, lovingly tap the thumbs up button for me. Uh, J Lo, that's cute. Yeah, remember to hit that thumbs up button for me. Um, really appreciate all of you guys being here and hanging out. Moonday Tarot would not be the same if there wasn't people to interact with. I think it makes it more fun personally. Rather than just sitting and doing a horoscope, like boring. So I love that you guys are here, and I appreciate everybody that watches this afterwards, after the fact as well. I understand not everybody can be here during the middle of the day, so that's kind of cool. That I don't know. I think it's really neat that people hang around and listen to what I got to say. So kind of blows my mind, but I love it. Um, remember to leave a comment, especially if you have a you Hulk smashed. I'm like lovingly tap it. Chance is like Hulk smash. Oh my gosh, that's good. Yeah, do whatever you want with the like button. Just hit the thumbs up. Okay. Trying to use different adjectives. Okay. Anyway, fucking, I forgot what I was gonna say. God damn it, I got distracted. Yeah, it's way more fun to do this stuff live with you guys. Um, so I appreciate you hanging out. And oh yes, if you have a story to share with me about how transit played out, or it's like, oh hey, that really resonated and hit home, leave a comment. The comments really actually help the algorithm pick up my channel and share it with other people. And it helps me know that I'm not just talking out my ass. Yeah. Yeah, that's super cool. I love that. It's neat that the earlier time helps some people be able to hang out that otherwise wouldn't. So that's pretty cool. Gordy in the house 2 weeks in a row. Look at that. Speaking of, alrighty, on to Sagittarius. Dun dun dun. Okay, so Sag, for you guys, this eclipse is happening in your 12th house. Alrighty, so 12th house has a lot to do with, excuse me, our subconscious, the subconscious realms. It is a hidden house. It is often associated with kind of gnarly topics such as our own self undoing, addiction, and things of that nature. Um, to have an eclipse here does not automatically mean that something really bad is going to go down. Often, I actually find that it means that there's different fears coming to the surface, again, for you to alchemize, for you to purge. This would be a fantastic time if you've never consulted with any kind of like a psychic or a I'm honestly really I'm really nervous to recommend therapy these days, but some kind of psychoanalytic things, some kind of situation where you can sit with somebody that is trained to look into the depths with you and look at vulnerable topics with you. This is a fantastic time to do so. Um, but otherwise, be gentle with yourself. Be gentle with yourself and with the other people around you. With this 12th house interplay happening, the eighth house being associated with psychology and trauma and other people's stuff, and the 12th house being associated with the subconscious and spirituality and invisible realms and whatnot. There's a well, this eclipse for everybody is likely to bring up a high degree of weirdness, all right, but especially for you, Sagittarius, because it's activating two hidden houses, two houses that deal with spirituality and more difficult topics. So if something comes up, be gentle with yourself and be gentle with the people around you, because it's quite likely being influenced by unseen forces, all right? Just straight up. It's quite likely that you're being influenced by unseen forces. Full moons always, eclipses even more so. When they aspect your chart in such a way, even more so. Pay attention to your dreams. Anytime you have a potent 12th house transit, definitely be paying attention to your dreams. The more energetically sensitive of you will probably be picking up on stuff going on around you. So that doesn't mean hide, right? That doesn't mean run away and hide. It doesn't mean put your head in the sand. It just means that you might need to use more practices than you normally do to ground, to center yourself, to ward off the things like psychic attack or even your own thought forms, right? This is something that uh, is really important, actually, that is definitely brought up in Dion Fortune's psychic self-defense, is that oftentimes what we think of as psychic attacks is actually our own thought forms coming back towards us. Negative things that we have thought about other people, curses essentially, that come back that come back to us. And it's our responsibility to deal with them. So keep that in mind. Something really kind of cool about this, keep in mind that right on the tail of this eclipse, we have Venus moving into Cancer as well. So here's that balm, that soothing balm into the 8th house. That's really nice. And okay, there's a few things going on that's actually really positive. Jupiter, Sagittarius. Jupiter will be visible by the time of this eclipse, so your chart ruler will now be filling the sky again with his light as a morning star. So, especially for you guys and for Pisces rising, if you're up before the sun, try and catch Jupiter's rays in the morning before the sun's up too far. Jupiter being visible again is said by ancient astrologers to bring blessings and to assist and protect. So where he becomes visible, he protects that house, and obviously it's a big deal for Jupiter ruled signs. So anyway, Jupiter being visible, very helpful. Then Venus moving into the 8th house, into Cancer, right on the tail of this eclipse, also really soothing. Will help to bring a balm towards these difficult 8th house topics. So some things to also soothing bombs. Other kind of bomb, motherfucker. uh, like salves. Soothing bombs. Oh my god. Chance. You're killing me, Chance. Anyway, there's some nice stuff going on there. In addition to the intensity of this eclipse. So, and really what I'm seeing with that is like there's don't be afraid to check in with people around you, right? Especially if you have, um, well, you have a support network, right? So use it. All right, so what do we got for you, Sag? The opportunities and the blessings might not be so obvious at first. So I think it'll be important to keep your eyes peeled, so to speak, and don't be afraid to take an opportunity as it's being presented, right? Okay. Aha. Oh. All right, Sag. Wow. There's a potent ending and the seed of a new something new being planted at the same time. So you have the Tower card and the World card. I'm just I'm waiting for the third card. But anyway, this Tower card is really interesting, right? This is the energy of Mars. A lot of people fear Tower moments because it inherently can feel like your entire world is coming down. Um, it can feel very intense. But here's the thing. In order to build, there is inherently a destructive process that comes along with it. So if you want to build something new, um, how do you even get the materials in order to build the new thing? Say you want to build a tower, okay? You want to build a castle. Where do you get the stone? Just think about that. Where do you get the stone from? You have to cut the stone, right? You have to use Mars literally to cut and separate the stones into even pieces or pieces that will fit together in order to even build the new thing. There's always a destructive aspect that takes place before the constructive aspect begins, or a separating action. This is Mars, the the energy to separate, the energy to cut, and the energy to spear as well. So there's a couple different things going on there. But anyway, so Tower Moment's coming in, right? There is something that's going to be shooken up this week. And this, I mean, I think this aligns quite nicely with the astrology itself. There is fears coming to the surface that you need to address. Things coming to the surface that might be really uncomfortable to acknowledge, but again, using the conscious awareness that is necessary for this particular eclipse, being aware of the process, being aware that this is likely to come up, and dealing with your own and other people's vulnerability with, put the kid gloves on, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Just being conscious of the process that's going on is going to be hugely helpful. And then we got the World card, of course, which is endings and beginnings. It's mastery, really. It represents Saturn, as far as planetary rulership goes. It represents Saturn. So again, there's something coming to an end, but something that's being built. There is something that was shaky and not fully I don't know, just something that was shaky or perhaps built upon something that wasn't solid. That's what's coming down. Um, because the new thing that you're meant to be building, it needs to be on solid or from solid ground. It needs to start from a good bedrock, not from sand, not on marsh, not in a swamp, so to speak. And then you also got the Five of Cups. I've been learning a lot more about the Five of Cups. This can be talking about disappointment, and hunger, actually. So, what is it that you desire? And if you actually obtain that desire, will you actually be satisfied? So, so I was talking a little bit earlier about hunger. Now, Scorpio has a lot to do with desire and hunger. This is that first decan of Scorpio, right before where this eclipse is occurring, the first decan, and this is that hunger. Sometimes we desire things that are not good for us. But even the desire that we feel for things that are good for us, say for example, consuming food, even that is a really destructive, murderous process. Even if you're a vegetarian, you're still being ruthless in that you're still killing the veggies in order to make them a part of yourself and live and sustain your own life, right? Like humans are actually very violent, and it cracks me up. But anyway, even when you satiate that hunger, there will come a time when you'll get hungry again, right? You'll never be fully satisfied, not completely. Um, and there's something about coming to this realization this week with this, where it's like, okay, this thing that I've been doing, this habit that I have, that is ultimately causing my own self undoing, right? 12th house matters. Um, I'm never satisfied, right? I'm never satisfied when I engage in this thing. It doesn't fulfill me. It doesn't help me. Doesn't move me forward in any way. And in fact, it moves me backwards. It activates stuff in my brain that I don't like. It helps, or it doesn't. I'm not actually getting out of it what I thought I was trying to get out of it, right? Let's say, for example, an addiction. So again, we're talking about the 12th house and the 8th house. Let's say you drink or you smoke weed or microdose mushrooms or whatever it is, or video games. You do these things because maybe you're trying to relax or let loose or calm anxious nerves or just disconnect from your day. There's something that you're doing that ultimately is not actually satisfying because you have to do more and more and more of it to get to the same level of satiation, but it's not enough. And thus, the tower moment is needed. A shakeup needs to come in. Something has to be destroyed in order for you to rebuild something more positive in its place. I see that's what this is. This is what is happening. Um, so again, take what resonates and leave the rest. This might not be exactly the case for all Sagittarius, but definitely for some of you, that is what's happening this week. So you're realizing that there's a habit that has to come to an end. Yeah. Ooh, when you read is just as important as what? Yeah, like some of that there's certain chapters in that Dion Fortune book that I probably wouldn't want to read right before bed. But I'm crazy and I will read it right before bed. Okay. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it might not be a rough week. This could be a lot smoother of a process than what initially I'm getting from the cards, right? Like that's the thing, is this is all about how are you going to respond to the energy, right? What are wh- how are you going to work with the cards that you've been dealt, so to speak, right? Uh, so yep, yep. Nope. That is an instant nope for me. Yep, fair enough. What's up, Logan? How you doing, buddy? Logan's been getting some badass photos of different stellar things and and video too. That's been really cool. So thank you for posting those when you do. Yeah, okay. Seriously, can we talk about this real quick? It makes a huge difference. So I don't know, depending on how maybe how sensitive you are or how maybe how good your shielding practices are. Um, what you consume before bed can have a major impact on how you sleep. Um, for me personally, I can't do horror before bed. I just can't. It's not good for me. But that's me. Okay, so Scorpio. Ooh, see you later, buddy. All right, water break. Yeah, dude, I appreciate that stuff so much because I don't have a telescope, and yeah, I just love that. Okay, Patrick, I'll take off the kids' gloves for you. Dude, me neither. Me neither. I can't do it. I can do a little bit of gore, but there's certain topics that I just can't. I turn it off or walk away. I just fucking can't. My nervous system can't handle it. And that's okay. My nervous system shouldn't have to handle it, and it's so important that you listen to your body in that, right? If your body's saying don't do it, then listen to your body. Okay, Patrick. Gosh. Okay. Crack me up. All right, so Scorpio. You are the star of the show. Do 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 do. Yeah, so lunar eclipse. Lunar eclipse in your sign. Dun dun dun. So it's a Scorpio rising, right? Scorpio rules your body, right? So this is what I would consider to be an eclipse happening on a sensitive axis, right? So Scorpio, you and Taurus have been going through significant life changes lately, right? As the eclipses have been tapping into this first seventh house axis, there have been some big shifts. And of course, as a Scorpio rising, this is nothing new for you guys, right? This is not a new thing. Transformation is the name of the game for you. That is the definition of your life. Okay. So it's not like this is something that you haven't dealt with before. This is definitely energy that you've dealt with before. Now, with Mars being in the ninth house, that is an interesting play of energy. Okay, so the ninth house is the temple or the university that we study in, as Gemini Brett puts it. This is essentially has a lot to do with our beliefs. It has a lot to do with the things that we need to study, the topics that we need to study in order to walk our path even better, or fulfill our role even better. And with Mars in Cancer right now, this is something that you have been really looking at lately. Is what do you need to learn, or what do you need to teach, or how do you need to study in order to do the Scorpio path? Um, oh, okay. Guar's different. Guar's like horror comedy. Okay. Sorry, Scorpio. Got distracted. Okay. So anyway, what's this first ninth house trine all about? Right. That's really what it's about. What do you need to study in order to do the Scorpio path? So the Scorpio path includes things like the unrelenting search for the truth, the ultimate truth. The Scorpio path is also about healing the self in order to heal the world. There is something very important about healing the self when it comes to the Scorpio path. And in order to do that, they have to study in the temple of Cancer. They have to learn how to do the Cancer thing. They have to learn about how to nurture themselves. They have to learn how to accept love and guidance from people that feel like family. And it doesn't have to be your literal family, right? I'm not necessarily talking about biology, but your tribe, your tribe, um, Cancer thing. So anyway, interesting dynamic here. Um, but yeah, I mean, really, there's lots changing, lots shifting, just over the last year in general, especially for you guys. And this eclipse is no different. So if your sun or your ascendant degree is within, like, I don't know, 5 degrees to either side of the moon here at 14 degrees, it's going to affect you even more potently than if your sun or moon is way off. But even then, I have seen personally eclipses that are in a sign that are nowhere near a planet still affect somebody really deeply on a personal level. So take it for what it is. Yeah, I love me some Guar too. Exactly. Yeah. Um. Oh yes. So Venus moving into the ninth house is going to be really nice. All right. So, um, this is the softening and the balm, not not explosive bomb, but damn it, chance, but a soothing salve into the ninth house. So this has been a fairly emotional transit for everybody, intensifying all of the things, Mars being in Cancer. But Venus is going to help soothe some of that out, soften some of that out. The ninth house can also be associated, other than just like the university or higher learning type stuff, or religious studies. It could be associated with publishing things. So literally, this is you becoming the teacher when you're publishing something. Um, it can be associated with foreign travel as well. So it's the pilgrimage, really. It's the ninth house describes the pilgrimage. So, um, yeah, interesting stuff. Really interesting stuff. So I'd be really curious to see if there's Scorpios putting things out that they want to publish, especially if it has to do specifically with something that they have gone through in life, right? This could be one of the things that goes down, right? Like you have experienced certain types of events and certain themes in your life of betrayal and trauma and all of this dark stuff associated with Scorpio, but how have you alchemized it, and what is your survivor story, right? How did you overcome those difficulties and those challenges? You could be telling us your story and teaching a whole lot of people about how exactly you did that, right? That's what I mean by Scorpio's path is to heal the self in order to heal the world. It's good stuff. It's good stuff. You need to practice accepting love. Yup. Don't make me hug you. Oh. Yeah, consent is required, okay? Consent is required, period. All right, Scorpio, what do we have for you for cards? We have the Ace. Okay, we have the Ace of Swords, the Tower, again, of course. Standard, wouldn't, I'm not shocked, actually. Um, yeah, it's so funny, okay? The Tower is often a shocking event. But it's like, Scorpio, are you really shocked? Are you surprised at all? Like, come on. Like, are you really surprised in the slightest? No. That's so funny. I um I've met a few people now with stelliums and Scorpio, and aw, okay. Then we got the Two of Cups. That's really beautiful. So I've met, wow, Scorpio, powerful cards actually. All right. So I've met a few people with stelliums and Scorpio, and a stellium, quick refreshers, 3 or more planets in one sign. Both of these Scorpio stellium people have a really big focus on uh, researching and seeing and being able to see several steps in advance of how something will go wrong. They're like really really good at like, okay, this is the worst case scenario if we go down this path. And it's like, this is the worst case scenario if we go down this path. And this is the worst case scenario, so we need to plan for it. They're really good at this. But sometimes people don't want to hear it, right? Like, even if you know and you can see that the things that somebody else is doing are going to lead them in a way that they don't actually want to go, sometimes they don't want to hear it. In fact, they often don't want to hear it. They really don't. Um, but telling people these things comes from this place of just wanting to help, right? It's like, I just want to help. I can see that it's going to go wrong for you, and I'm trying to help you avoid further mess or further heartbreak or further whatever, further losses. But it's like, that other person doesn't want to fucking hear it. This is you being like, I see what's going to happen. Here's a way that you can avoid that. And someone doesn't listen, and it's like, bam, tower moment. Fucking told you so, but like, don't say that, okay? Don't tell them that. It's your guys' fucking talent, okay? It's a superpower that you guys have. It's just, it's a thing. And it's, Scorpios are so wise, and that's the thing. Scorpios are so wise, but not everybody actually wants to fucking hear it. They're like, okay, Scorpio, don't want to hear it. Um, because some people, I don't know. I don't know whether it's pride or whether it's people just like to learn things the hard way or what. Nobody ever listens. That's the thing, though. That's the thing. Nobody listens. And then things go wrong, and Scorpio's just over there like, why do I even bother? I'm sorry for laughing. I'm sorry, Scorpio. I'm not laughing at you. I promise. I've watched it play out so many times now that it's like, yeah. Anyway, this is you guys being like, okay, I see what's going on. I have this brilliant insight. I know how this next chess move is going to play out, worst case scenario. And then somebody doesn't listen, and it's like, oh, whoop-de-doo, see? I fucking told you so. Or if you watch Trailer Park Boys, I fucking told you so. But the week actually ends in a Two of Cups. The week ends with a Two of freaking Cups, okay? So it's like, how often have you predicted a worst case scenario? The worst case scenario happens, but then something surprising and totally out of the blue and really positive happens. How often has that happened? A lot. I bet it's actually happened more than you care to admit. Our brain is really, really good at predicting terrible situations because it's helped us survive. It's helped us survive, right? It's actually a very useful function of the human brain. However, a lot of the times we think of the worst case scenario, but the worst case scenario doesn't actually come to pass. It's usually somewhere in the middle or even closer to the best case scenario in some cases. Be cautious about predicting really negative, awful things and then being too pessimistic. I'm really good at this too, guys. Trust me. Because you never know what kind of really beautiful things could actually happen. You never know what kind of intimate and positive bonding can occur when you least expect it. Um, and hey, you know what? Maybe the worst case scenario might happen, right? That it does happen, right? It does happen. But the whole point of eclipses and the events that come about around eclipse season, and dare I say because of eclipses, are realigning you. Okay? That's what this whole time period has been about, is about realignment. Okay? So if a tower moment occurs, if something comes down that was unsteady in the first place, it is because it is meant to be rebuilt in another area entirely. Perhaps you need to use a different Rickyisms to live by word. Smokes. Let's go. The Canadians in the chat are like, yes. Oh yeah. Let's get two birds stoned. Oh my god. But anyway, this whole time is about realignment. Okay. So should something come down, right? Should something occur, maybe you picked the wrong kind of stone, and limestone is not a wise choice because as soon as the rain starts getting acidic, your building's going to get fucked up anyway. Maybe you need to use granite. You know what I mean? Yeah. Maybe you needed to use something entirely different for a material. And perhaps maybe there's a better, wiser place that you could build from. Okay. Um, yeah. Oh man. That's the thing, right? That is that's the thing. That's the thing. We never know what kind of blessings can come about. Don't take it for granted. Oh, the puns. The puns. Yeah. You'll always learn something from it. And the Two of Cups coming out is like, hey, there is an opportunity through this tragedy, or through this, it doesn't even have to be a major traumatic thing, but there's an opportunity through this shifting, through this eclipse window, for some really beautiful bonding, right? Some really something really nice to occur. And actually, let me just bring back the chart for just a quick second, a hot minute, and let me just show you something real quick, okay? Because there's the Ace of Cups underneath the deck as well. So an emphasis on something new and beautiful. So Venus, okay? Venus rules your 7th house of partnerships, right? Business partnerships, but also marriage, any kind of contracts, all right? And Venus is moving into your 9th house. Okay, 9th house. Straight up, Venus represents the people that you partner with, Scorpio. If you're a Scorpio rising, Venus represents your partners, spouses, business partners, etc. So her changing signs into an even more favorable position, a more favorable house, a more favorable sign, all of those things, while she's still super visible and super bright in the sky. Fantastic opportunity that maybe you might meet somebody that is from a foreign place, 9th house, or you go on a travel because of something that goes down with the eclipse, and you meet somebody in a foreign place that ends up becoming a very important partner later on in life, you know? And considering the eclipses have been happening in the 1st and 7th house, this is quite likely to totally reorient how you feel about partnerships, how you present yourself in partnership, what you want out of a partnership. So there's so much more going on with the eclipse other than just, yeah, eclipse in the 1st house. Where's Mars? Where's Venus? Where's all the other stuff in the chart? And what houses did they rule? So don't take this time for granted. Granted. You never know. You never know what kind of surprising events might unfold. Yep. Oh my gosh. I'm smelling a weird smell. Hold on. one of those smells where it could be something really concerning, or it could just be my neighbor cooking. Okay, I think we're okay. Anyway, Libra. Libra. I gotta stretch my legs. Oh, that's better. I'm so glad there's people in the chat that understood the Rickyism. I appreciate you guys so much. I can see my whole apartment from where I'm sitting. Just looked over at the electrical appliances and everything is off. So it's not my kitchen. Um and it's not an electrical fire smell. It's probably food. Anyway, we were just talking about bad stuff happening. You guys, stop it. Stop it. Stop it. You guys. You guys. Oh my gosh. Okay. Libra. Alrighty. Yeah, everybody's like, check the house. Oh my god. I'm like, guys, just chill. Yeah. But no, for real. I can see everything from here, and it's not my kitchen that's making weird smells, so it's probably the neighbors. All right, so Libra. Da, 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 da. For you guys, Scorpio is your second house. So we are talking about an eclipse lighting up the second and eighth axis of your house, of your houses, of your chart. Second house has a lot to do with our finances, has a lot to do with our values and valuables. It's an easy way to sum it up. And then yeah, and it's got this really interesting interplay with Mars in the 10th house. So that's kind of fun. So the relationship between the 10th and the second is pretty obvious, actually. If second has to do with our finances and 10th has to do with our career, then it's a pretty obvious link, right? I don't feel like I need to explain that one too in depth, right? How we perform at work affects our finances. What we think we are worth affects what kinds of careers that we go for. How we are perceived by the public and how we interact with the people that are in authority figures, that's 10th house, can definitely change and affect, our finances, our budgeting. But also, there's a huge interplay between what we do for a living and the value that we assign to ourselves, at least in Western society. And I think, I think some of that is unwarranted, but still, we do it. So there's always a huge interplay there for everybody, but especially with this eclipse. So I would just be really curious, Libra, about what kinds of things are going on with your personal values, your personal finances, and stuff with shared finances. And I'd be really curious if, well, I don't know. I think if I were sitting with a Libra rising right now doing a reading, I would be asking them about what's going on with their career life or their relationship with authority figures and how that interplay is affecting their finances directly, right? That's pretty much the main things with this trine here. Now Venus is moving into your 10th house right on the tail end of this eclipse. So Venus moving into Cancer, super positive for helping you smooth over things with employers or authority figures in general. Venus on the MC and Venus in the 10th house makes you look good to the public, right? So it's an ideal time to um, ask for raises if you want to ask for raises. It's an ideal time for. No, there's that smell again. Got me all paranoid. God damn it, Scorpio! It's an it's an ideal time to spruce up how you appear to the public in some way. So lots of different ways you can go about doing that, but that is something you can think about. Now, considering that Venus is your chart ruler, Libra, right? For Libra rising, Venus is your chart ruler, so her changing signs is a big deal. So your focus personally has been on the temple or university that you study in, right? Higher education, publishing things, putting things out to the world, but also some of your maybe personal beliefs have been going through a bit of a not necessarily a renovation, but you've just been focused there a little bit more. And now it's time to take what you've learned, if you've engaged in any kind of like coursework or education of any kind. And now it's time to take what you've learned and apply it practically in the public sphere, right? So, kind of a fun example of when a chart ruler moves from the ninth to the 10th house, how we take those ninth house things and apply them, right? That's what you're being asked to do as Venus is changing signs. It's probably fine, maybe. Oh my god. Oh god. Yeah. It's probably fine, maybe. Oh shit. Should I pull a card? Is the house about to burn down? Oh my god. If it's the Tower card, I gotta go. No, Queen of Cups. We're good. It's fine. Yeah. It's somebody probably cooking. Okay. Just on the fly tarot consultations. Yeah. All right. So anyway, Libra, what do we got for cards for you? What's up, Andy? Missed the Trailer Park Boys references earlier. All right. So first thing out for you, Libra, the moon. And then Justice. Always good to see you show up to your own reading. Fantastic. And the Fool card. Fun. Okay. So we've got the Moon, Justice, and the Fool. All three major arcana cards. That in and of itself is kind of wild. So something kind of there's something significant going down this week for sure. Right? You're in a period of major change as well. Andy, no. Yeah. You're not a Libra rising though. You're fine. You're good. Right? Now I forget. Okay, so anyway, Moon, Justice, Fool. Hidden things, secrets, psychic awareness, intuition, fears, decision making, balancing heart and mind, balancing sorry. There's like weird noises. What the fuck's going on today? Oh man. Balancing paranoia and positive thinking. Oh man. And then the Fool card, needing to trust, needing to follow your intuition. Beginning anew. So Libra, what I see you doing this week actually is trying to balance out your fears with your hopes, your suspicion, your paranoia, your worst case scenario thinking with where your spirit is leading you. No matter which direction you go in, you still have to trust in yourself. Hmm. I can actually see you putting an end to something that has been causing you a lot of anxiety. Finally cutting something off and using some really solid boundaries, whether they're emotional boundaries or physical boundaries, it doesn't really matter. Using some really solid boundaries in order to cut off somebody's influence that has been having a negative effect on you. Especially if you have been like spending money that you can't really afford to spend, or if they have been undermining your own personal values in some way or your own personal morality in some way. I can definitely see you cutting somebody off or cutting off and maybe even an activity that you were doing yourself. And I love this because it's freeing up a lot of energy so that you can actually go and embark on something different, right? Do something totally different. Do something. Um, it's like beginning anew again, right? Which can be, I mean, that can be both exciting and scary. So I get that. Um, this eclipse is going to be a little bit more emotional in just in nature in general. It just fucking is. Um, so if you have some of those fears and self-doubts coming up, um, I want you to remember how much of a badass you are. Remember that you can do it on your own, and remember that you have a wide social network. You have lots of people that you can call on for assistance if you need it. Um, you're about to look really fucking good in your position at work, in your position with your career, or in the public in general. Okay, you're about to shine. So, use that influence that you have. And Libra, you have a lot of influence, okay? You are masters of the social graces. You're masters of being the ultimate hostess, okay? That is powerful. That is the power of diplomacy. That is uh, an ability to negotiate and have a way with words that can be inspiring. It can be, your words are weighted. Um, So you're about to be given a position of authority or look really good to people in positions of authority, and I want you to use that wisely. There's something that some some big changes that you want to assist with, right? This is a common theme for many Libras is they see some kind of injustice and they want to help correct it. Um, and of course this can be manipulated by others, as you guys are probably quite aware. Watching the social justice warriors be manipulated is tragic, but even just wanting to counter that is the same energy, right? Like you see the imbalance there, like okay, I need to balance that out by not doing that and doing the opposite of that. It's still the same thing. Um, just one archetype is maybe being manipulated a little bit less than the other. But anyway, regardless, you're about to have a lot of power and have a position of authority. So use that wisely. Don't let um don't let yourself be emotionally manipulated by others. Um this is where strong boundaries come in. Use those strong boundaries, and then there's something really beautiful for you. You're beginning a new phase, going on a new journey, doing something totally different, and yeah, enjoy the exciting aspect of that. And excitement and anxiety, by the way, excitement and anxiety show up chemically in the body in the same way. It's both. It's the same hormone. It's cortisol and adrenaline. So the difference between excitement and anxiety is your perception of it. How do you actually feel about it? So you can trick yourself from being anxious into being excited just by framing it differently in your mind. So use that power of air, Libra, that I know you have, and change it. Change it to excitement. Okay. Do 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 Virgo. Yeah, smell's gone now. It was definitely somebody cooking. Oh, by the way, the exact moment of the opposition, the exact moment of the peak eclipse will be 11:33 Mountain Time. I thought that was really fun when I was looking at that. 11:33 Mountain Time, so it'd be 10:33 a.m. Pacific, or 1:33 p.m. Eastern. Just so you know, I thought that 33 was fun. Okay, so anyway, Libra or Virgo. Virgo, for you guys, okay, so eclipse is happening in your third house. Now, let's take just a quick moment to mention Mercury. So, by Friday, Mercury will still be invisible and still be retrograde, but he'll be pulling away from the sun. So, there's still this sense of being in the underworld for the moment, right? Still feeling like you're in the underworld, maybe feeling a little bit less effective than you might normally. But this is a still an important time period, right? We're still kind of looking at these ninth house topics, and for you, ninth house topics include obviously publishing or higher learning, or even stuff to do with like the court system. So you're looking at these topics and learning something, right? Studying something, going back over information that is really important to you, obviously. So Mercury will be invisible for a little bit longer, but that's kind of just that's where you're at right now. So anyway, eclipse in the third house. Third house has a lot to do with your neighborhood. It has a lot to do with siblings. It has a lot to do with transportation, whether you can drive or where you're driving, or that those things, like literally vehicles, can be seen from the third house and the third house ruler. And there's this really interesting trine and exchange of energy with the 11th house. 11th house has to do with the people that you associate with, the groups that you belong to. So perhaps what you could see with this eclipse is I don't know, something shifting, something needing to be changed about perhaps your daily commute to work, or perhaps some of the things that you do on a daily basis in your neighborhood. That's where the change is occurring. The third house is kind of weird. This is the joy of the moon, the third house, by the way. This is the house of the goddess, and the sun is in its house of rejoicing as well, the house of God, as it was called in Hellenistic times. English translation, obviously. So it's kind of cool to have a full moon and an eclipse happening with both of these planets being in their happy places, essentially. So kind of nice. It's called I think it's called accidental dignity, if I'm remembering the correct terminology. But anyway, so kind of neat, just in and of itself, just a little factoid for you. But it's still an eclipse, right? So we're still talking about something being eclipsed out. Now, the third and ninth house axis, this is not a super personal house, right? So you might not have anything specifically happen to you. You might actually be watching something play out with your siblings if you have siblings. And again, just to bring it back to the theme of this decan of Scorpio, this is about dual distillation. So this is about intimate bonds that we have with others, right? Karmic bonds, energetic bonds, emotional bonds, and whether or not those are ennobling and uplifting or whether they're toxic and need to be removed, right? So some themes for you to kind of stew on a little bit. Um, yeah, and like I said, with this trine with Mars and the association of the 11th house, there could be some interesting shifts in regards to some of your longer term goals changing, reflecting, something that's happening specifically with your siblings or something that's happening in your neighborhood. There might be some groups that you associate with that are actually it'd be really interesting as if, like, let's say, for example, this might not happen, okay? This might not happen, but eclipse in the third house, let's say your vehicle dies, right? Just as an example. Might not happen, but it could. Let's say your vehicle dies, right? It's eclipsed out. Okay. But you have somebody in your wider network circle, or your maybe even from your own neighborhood, that you have a loose association with, that helps you gain another vehicle, right? Or helps you get around temporarily until you can find another one for yourself. That's a really simple way of how this could play out for somebody. Now, Venus by the end of the week is moving into Cancer, ingressing into your 11th house. So if you have had difficulties with some of your associations lately because of Mars being here, Venus is going to bring in some soothing energy to assist with that. Oh, no. What are you talking about? Oh, yeah, fair enough. Okay, got it. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I miss that banner sometimes. So anyway, Virgo, my apologies. I always do it to Virgo too. Always do it to Virgo. All right, so what do we got for cards? Third house eclipse for Virgo rising. Okay, we got the Knight of Swords. Doo 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 doo. The Eight of Cups. Okay, so the Knight of Swords is reminding me that actually that there are more things to the third house than just your neighborhood. It's the skills and the tools that you have, and how you communicate as well. So there's I've heard another astrologer call the third house like the dumping grounds, because there's actually a lot of things associated with that house. Um, Tools and skills is one. Um, communication style, how we communicate, is another. How we like learn things initially is another. And then your neighborhood and siblings, like, see what I mean? There's actually a lot of topics in the third house. Um, but anyway, perhaps there is something that you need to say, right? A conversation that needs to be had. And the Knight of Swords coming in is really encouraging you to be brave and be bold with your words. Um, say what needs to be said. Be precise. I know, right? It is a lot. It is a lot in the third house. Not even gonna lie. Be precise with your words. Be honest and truthful with your words, right? No matter what's going on, honesty is always the best policy. So stick with that, especially when we're dealing with a Scorpio freaking eclipse. Honesty is the best policy. And then with the Eight of Cups, There's something that ultimately you have to walk away from. So, however that actually works out for you, right? Because there's so many topics in that third house. It could be a car, literally. It could be something physical that you literally have to walk away from. It could be a conversation that, hey, you said your piece, you were honest and forthright about something, and now, you know, that is part of the catalyst of things that make it so you need to walk away. And then, at a certain point, you have to be the bigger man or the bigger woman. But ultimately, with Eight of Cups, what we're doing is we're walking away from something material that was satisfying at some point in time. And actually, it's an eclipse pictured on this car. Duh. Ultimately, we're searching for a higher truth. We're searching for something that's way more spiritually and emotionally fulfilling. So again, I just keep coming back to whatever is ending and completing for you. It's meant to be. And the final card for Virgo. Where are you? What is it? There it is. Ah, the King of Cups. Interesting. I sensed this energy. It's the Five of Swords. So there's just another motif of somebody walking away. So, like, again, it could be something as simple as literally your car dies and you have to walk. And then, like, see what I mean? But at the same time, I laugh, but that can be a really emotional thing and a tough thing to deal with if you really rely on a vehicle to, like, get you to work and all that stuff. So I apologize for laughing, but sometimes we gotta laugh about it. But anyway, so be honest, be forthright with your words, have that conversation. Don't be shy. Definitely be speaking truth. There might be something that you need to walk away from that, especially like right now, there might be a huge draw to want to hold on and to stick with something, but if it's ultimately toxic in nature, or maybe it didn't start out that way, maybe it didn't start out toxic, maybe it was very uplifting and positive to begin with, but sometimes even if individually we're healthy and strong, certain energies just don't mix well. And if you have if you have an oopsie in chemistry, it leads to an explosion or a poison, right? Same kind of things. Same kind of things happen when we're dealing with relationships with people. A whoopsie can lead to an explosion or poison when individually the components weren't necessarily explosive or poisonous. You know what I mean? But anyway, at the end of the week, we have this King of Cups energy coming in. Leads me to believe that whatever happens is going to happen, but you're going to remain grounded and stable, even in the midst of a lot of shifting emotions around you. The King of Cups, in this deck anyway, don't know how well you can see that, but his throne is carved of stone, okay? It's in the middle of the ocean. There's a whale and a ship in the distance to really show, like, the fact that it's an ocean. And when we're dealing with water in the tarot, we're dealing with the subconscious. We're dealing with the emotional realm. The King of Cups is someone that is able to navigate that emotional realm, but at the same time stay grounded and has a solid enough internal foundation that no matter what kind of stuff is battering him from the outside, he's still good, right? That's what you are developing or what you are stepping into by the end of this week. And it comes from being able to trust yourself enough to actually walk away from something that isn't serving you. To actually walk away from something and be okay with that walking away. Because it leaves you more emotionally grounded at the end of the day. So I would say trust your intuition. Definitely have that conversation. And you fucking got this, Virgo. You fucking got this. Don't be afraid to reach out to your support network because you actually have lots of people around you that are willing to help build you up. And if somebody is tearing you down rather than building you up, then fuck them. Don't pay any more attention to them. Okay. Dun 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 dun. Dun 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 dun. Leo. And all of a sudden I got a Rush song stuck in my head. That's really random. Dun 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 bow 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 ba na 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 na. I don't even remember the name of that song. What is it? Yeah, I don't remember. Okay, anyway, sorry, Leo. You're welcome, Gordy. Gordy knows. Gordy knows what I'm talking about. Yeah. Now I gotta look it up. God damn it. That happens a lot, actually. Dun, 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 dun. Spirit of Radio? Maybe. Spirit of Radio. Rush. Sorry, guys. You're right, Kimberly. That happens often, and I don't always listen to the message. Just ignore this ad. I have been getting the most insane political ads lately. It's driving me nuts. Also, thank you, Jenny. Jenny sent me a kind gift for my birthday. I appreciate that, buddy. Okay, hold on. Yep, that's it. Spirit of the Radio. That is the one. That is it. That's it. It just took a second to begin the day with a friendly voice, a companion, unobtrusive, plays that song that's so elusive, and the magic music makes your morning mood. Off on your way, hit the open road. There is magic at your fingers, for the spirits ever lingers. Undemanding contact in your happy solitude. Invisible airwaves crackle with life. Bright antennas bristle with the energy. Emotional feedback on a timeless wavelength. Bearing a gift beyond price, almost free. All this machinery making modern music can still be open-hearted, not so coldly charted. It's really just a question of your honesty. Yeah, your honesty. One likes to believe in the freedom of music, but glittering prizes and endless compromises shatter the illusion of integrity. Yeah, invisible airwaves crackle with life. Bright antennas bristle with energy. Emotional feedback on a timeless wavelength, bearing a gift beyond price, almost free. For the words of the prophets were written on the studio wall, concert hall, echoes with the sounds of salesmen, of salesmen. Hello, how are you doing? How are you doing down, Rio? Thank you so much. Good night. Right now, it's time to let the dogs out. What? What? It ends so random. Okay, fascinating. That makes me think of the conversation that we had at the very beginning of this. Yeah, Andy, I got a Rush song randomly stuck in my head. So, here we are reading the lyrics because apparently it matters. But anyway, it reminds me of the conversation that we kind of opened with. What are you consuming before bed? Okay, right? What are you consuming before bed? We talked about this really briefly. Whether you like horror or whatever the case may be, what you listen to musically, what you consume on YouTube, on Instagram, on TikTok, on Telegram, Netflix, going to movies, all of these things, they make a huge impression on you psychically. And I'm not sure 100% what the message was in there, but that line really sticks out to me of one likes to believe in the freedom of music, but glittering prizes and endless compromises shatter the illusion of integrity. There's something in there actually that ties into this Scorpio eclipse a little bit. We're talking about um, hunger and desire, and what will you do to obtain that desire? And then with this middle decan of Scorpio, there's this interplay of energy, right? This dual distillation, as Austin Coppock puts it, um, where you are being affected by something and you are affecting something else equally. And what are you feeding into that system? And is what you're feeding into that system a positive thing or a malignant thing? Is it something that's going to help you grow, or is it something that's going to diminish you? Is it going to be a poison? You know? And I'm sure that connects with the Libra reading somehow, but or the Virgo reading. Anyway, there you go. Oh yeah, I like doing that. Yeah, I get I get a lot of messages through music. It's just sometimes while I'm like doing something live like this, I don't want to take the time to go and look it up because I'm like, yeah, but I have an agenda to stick to. I only have so much time. I got to get through this, and I don't want to sit here forever with a bunch of dead air. So I appreciate that you guys are down with the pauses and the meandering now and again, because I mean that's me. So you just you have to deal with it anyway. Leo. All right, Leo. So for you guys, for Leo risings, this is happening in the fourth house. So lunar eclipse, fourth house. Our fourth house deals with our ancestry. Our fourth house deals with our deeper desires, our deeper emotions, the things that are hidden, the things about ourselves actually that we bury. So this fourth, eighth, 12th, right? So for Leo, the water trine houses. Excuse me. Oh. Ooh, we're releasing energy. So anyway, these all deal with subconscious stuff, the psyche in some way. The fourth house is what we know, the family secrets, but we bury, right? So there can even be memories here that you're unaware of now, unconscious of now, right? Purposely forgotten things, or your brain purposely forgot about them, even if you consciously didn't forget about them, right? We bury stuff in the fourth house. So would not be surprised at all, Leo rising specifically, if the eclipse is bringing up certain things to do with some of your unconscious fears. Wouldn't be shocked in the slightest. That'd be especially with Mars in the 12th house. I would not be shocked in the slightest if that's a big thing that Leo rising was dealing with. What happens when I put down roots? If I put down roots, is it going to be the same as these ancestral memories that are tugging at the back of my mind? You know, am I safe when I put down roots? Am I safe here? Right? There's a lot to do with safety with the fourth house, but with the moon and the lunar eclipse, right? Questions of emotional safety, especially, right? Am I emotionally safe to be vulnerable and to share? Or will I be betrayed again or whatever? you know, again, I'm laughing because I'm uncomfortable, so I apologize for that. But anyway, with this change of energy with the fourth and the 12th house, there's a lot of spiritual stuff going on here too, right? There's a lot of deep psychic energy being activated and being brought to the surface. So something to sit with a little bit. Something to sit with a little bit. There might quite likely, especially with this being a full moon, right? That's what a lunar eclipse is it's a full moon in Scorpio with the south node. There's something here about clearing out the past, right? If you want to put down roots, if you want to, let's use the house metaphor again. If you want to build a house and you want to put a foundation in, can you do it in swampland? Or is that going to cause your foundation to crack? Right? Or do you need to maybe clear the swamp a little bit? Or maybe pick a better location? right? um, yeah, or also think of plants, okay? If you have overwatered a plant and it gets root rot, like you can literally drown a plant if there's no ability for it to drain the water out, right? If there's too much water, um serious issues. You can kill a plant by giving it too much water, right? So these are metaphors, but they're important metaphors. It's like this full moon is allowing you to drain some stuff energetically, karmically, perhaps even specifically tied to some of your own ancestral wounds. It might not even be uh, there might be fears and anxieties coming up that don't even belong to you in this lifetime. They could be from past lifetimes. They could be ancestral stuff. And I actually had the conversation just yesterday with my mama-in-law, um, about how when your mom was born, right, when your grandmother was carrying your mother, all of the eggs that your mother had were developing in the womb at the same time as she was developing, right? So there is a piece of you that was alive in your grandmother's womb, right? The egg that is now you was in your mom when she was born and was carried in your grandmother. So quite literally, physically, we carry this ancestral tie to our ancestors. It's obviously way deeper than that energetically and spiritually speaking, but literally physically, we literally are carried in our grandmother's womb. So all of the things that your mother goes through during the course of her lifetime, um, and everything that she went through while she was in the womb does affect you and your genetics and your expression, right? So when you're doing when you're doing psychological and energetic healing, you're healing so much more than just your lifetime. You're healing lifetimes before you, right? So this is the kind of stuff that I think about when I see this kind of an interplay between the fourth and the 12th house on this kind of an eclipse, right? So as stuff is coming up for you, Leo, keep that in mind, right? You're doing noble work, essentially. Every time you heal something about yourself, every time you heal something psychological, you heal something emotional, you release something emotional, you're healing your ancestors as well. It's not just you that you're healing. You're healing everything that comes after you, and you're healing everything that's before you. And I have insane chills right now, but that's what's up. Word. Yeah, I know. I know. Houseboat. Okay, fair enough. You got me there. Uh, I don't need a foundation. I got a boat. Okay. Where are you where are you putting down anchor? Are you gonna take that through the Bermuda Triangle with all of your expensive shit on the boat, or are you gonna like go around that bitch? You know what I mean? Holy fuck. You guys are the best. Whew. I'm just gonna I need to laugh for a minute. That's hilarious. Thank you for making me laugh. Uh so this this was originally titled Giggle Tarot, especially when I'm here with Rachel, because we just get mad giggles, man. Um yeah. Giggle quota reached. Thank you. Yeah. Oh man. Yep. Oh my god. Yep. Well, I love it when people say something that I didn't think of, and I'm like, holy fuck. Yeah. Uh, houseboat. Oh shit. So Leo, I guess you're getting a houseboat. But on a lake. But on a lake because it's Scorpio. Kidding. It does. It does make everything better. So yeah, I'm like crying now. Oh. Oh man. Oh my god. Okay, we're only on Leo. I gotta hurry the fuck up. This happens every time. Every time. Okay, Leo. I'm like, no, serious time. And Leo's like, fuck you. You better laugh. Oh no. Oh god. Okay, so you're laughing in the face of the devil. That's what's happening. Death, haha. I laugh in the face of death. That's you, Leo. Oh my god, I'm gonna cry. Whew. Laughter, yeah, that is some powerful fucking witch shit right there. Um, hell yeah. All right, so these cards are not funny. I'm gonna try to stop laughing now. I mean they can be funny, I guess. I don't know. Okay, so Leo. So you got the Death card. All right, the Eight of freaking Cups and the Seven of Pentacles. But underneath the Wheel of Fortune. So that's kind of cool. Wheel of Fortune underneath. We'll come back to that in a minute. Death card, transformation. Transformation. That's simply put, that's what the Death card's about. It's about transformation. It's about releasing the old in order to bring in the new, right? Especially with Scorpio as your fourth house, right? Like this is so appropriate actually, the Death card coming out for you, especially because there is some really deep shit, literally maybe Scorpio, it's the rectum, um some, some deep shit that you're being asked to let go of right now. And as you're letting go of it, as you're walking away perhaps from and actually using very strong energetic boundaries with people, um, and allowing certain connections to dissolve, right? Dissolve. Uh, you're providing really rich, fertile soil for something new to be growing, right? So it's really important that you take these metaphors that I was talking about avoiding root rot by allowing for proper drainage, right? And apply them literally in your own life. So, uh, Yeah. Allow the water to drain. Allow the emotions to drain. Because you're going through an important transformation right now, and you're going to like the result as long as you don't hold on to things, right? So this is the thing about the Cancer and the Scorpio interplay is both of these signs can really like the archetypes of those signs can hold on to things for security essentially. Um, but this kind of transit, lunar eclipse, south node, and Scorpio with the interplay with Mars is very much like these things are being churned up, these emotional energies are being churned up in order for you to release more, right? There's always going to be more to release. You're never going to be fully healed of all of the things ever unless you somehow reach an avatar state and you're fully enlightened, which I don't think anybody is on earth. Maybe, I don't know. I doubt it, but I don't really know. But anyway, the Seven of Pentacles is also really coming in to just ask you to consider what the long-term goal is. What exactly are you wanting to build? And having a little bit of foresight into what you want to build will help you know um, the reasons why you're releasing things, the reasons why you're letting go of certain things. Um, this will help you to make the necessary plans to put down the right kind of foundation for what you want to build. So there you have it. Oh yeah, and then Wheel of Fortune underneath. I'm glad I looked at the bottom. Uh I mean, in one sense this is talking about situations from the past or past life stuff. Like I was talking about, you were carried by your grandmother. A piece of you was carried by your grandmother, technically, while your mother was in the womb, etc., etc. Um, there's definitely like some deep ancestral stuff coming up, and some of the things that you're clearing, like I mentioned before, doesn't even belong to you in this lifetime, but yet here you are clearing it, right? So remain in the tension of the opposites there. But sometimes things come up for us to address one more time, like the archetype comes back around for us to say to the universe, nope, not this time, universe. I learned my lesson. We're not doing that again, and deal with it appropriately. So there you have it, Leo. That is your ooh, that is your reading. I looked death in the face last night. I saw him in a mirror, and he simply smiled. He told me not to worry. He told me just to take my time. Right? Right? I know. Oh gosh. Cancer, cancer, cancer. So for you guys, Scorpio is your fifth house. Dun 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 dun. Fifth house. So for you guys, all right, fifth house has to deal with our creative selves, our inner child. It has to deal with creative projects, right? How we artistically express ourselves. If we do that, hobbies that we have that express ourselves creatively. Children is a fifth house thing. A fifth house thing. Sorry, a fifth house topic. um, romance, games. These are fifth house things. So anyway, lunar eclipse, Scorpio freaking eclipse in the fifth house. Mm. Heh. Interesting one. So I don't know. What do I want to say about this? This is bringing up the topic of children. And considering it's an eclipse, uh, uh considering it's an eclipse and this is your chart ruler, I would be really interested to learn about, maybe different hobbies or creative stuff that you've got going on that maybe you need to put a pause on or stop or end. This, I mean, there's a lot of topics in the fifth house that this could be referring to. Like what are, especially since we're talking about the potential for there to be toxicity and the need to drain and purge with the Scorpio eclipse. Perhaps what this is talking about is different things that you do for fun or different romantic connections that you have or, you know, some kind of, I mean, things that you do for fun really covers it quite well. That has become toxic that you need to now, let go of or adjust in some way so that it's no longer toxic. Because there's lots of stuff that we do that's fun, that's not necessarily uh, altogether bad for us, right? There's a famous quote, I believe is from Pericles, the dose doth make the poison, meaning if you overdo it in just about everything, you can poison yourself. So that's something. And considering we're talking about Scorpio, there's often extremes here. And remember what I said about the North Node being a hungry, obsessive energy sometimes. There's often extremes here. So this is really about just assessing if you have fallen into extremes. And if you have, then maybe taking a step back from something temporarily. Like I'm thinking like, you know how for Lent or for different religious holidays. Lent is just the first example I thought of. People will give up something for a period of time. Like they'll do like fasting, for example, with Ramadan, or like with Lent, they'll pick something and give it up for a week or whatever. There's like this spiritual and physical cleansing, this physical cleansing that comes with the spiritual cleansing and vice versa. So anyway, there's probably something that you do for fun that you need to let go of for a little bit. And it's not necessarily permanent, right? But just quite likely there's some toxicity and probably toxicity in your body, right? With Mars in the first house here and this being an interplay here and the first house is literally your body. There's quite literally something that you've been experiencing that you're realizing is probably because of, say, a romantic connection or something that you're doing with your kids or something that you're doing for fun that's supposed to be just fun and on occasion that's not on occasion anymore, something like that. So there's definitely an interesting interplay there. So listen to your body. What is your body telling you? If you've got a lot of excess inflammation, for example, that's an excellent cue from your body that you're overdoing it. If there is, let's say you're getting panic attacks or something like that because your cortisol levels are through the freaking roof, then that's an excellent indication that you're overdoing it in some area. Just as a couple of examples for you. Now, Venus moving into your sign later this week is going to be fantastic. This is not an excuse to not take action and not cut out things that are not good for you. However, Venus is going to assist with that soothing quality that she brings, right? So that's really nice and something to look forward to, and is going to help smooth out some of the roughness of Mars being in your first house, but still don't use that, like I said, don't use that as an excuse to not take action on whatever needs to be drained out from your fifth house, right? Anyway. Yo, that's crazy. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so that's the thing with detoxing. You can put yourself in danger if you try to go too quickly. Um, so like you can overload your kidneys and shit like that. So you got to be really careful. Okay. Cancer, cancer. What do we got for cards for you, Cancer? Immediately, the High Priestess came out. You already know what I'm talking about, okay? On a subconscious, body-based, intuitive level, you already know what I'm talking about. It's really important that you pay attention to your intuition, Cancer. You're ruled by the moon. This card is associated with the moon. It's the High Priestess. She guards the secrets of the universe. That's you. Fucking called it. There's the Ten of Wands. So, overburdened. There's something that you're definitely stressing out over that you need to drop or put a pause on or unburden yourself, essentially. So, ooh, bean soup and veggies sounds sad. That sounds sad. I love bread. Yeah. Okay. I need to do something like that. But anyway, okay, sorry. Cancer. Instinctively, you already know what I'm talking about. As soon as I started talking about the astrology, you probably already identified exactly what it is that I'm talking about. Okay. The Ten of Wands coming in is like, this is actually a very helpful energy. Because the 10 is about completion. You're finishing something, okay? I kind of get the sense that if you want to if you want to take if you want to get the most benefit out of the Venus transit through your first house, there is a sense of needing to drop at least one project, or hurry up and get it finished. All right. Hurry up and finish it. But at the same time, it's just this. Oh, the world card. Okay, yeah, no. There's something that has to end. There's something that you need to put an end to, put a stop to. The world card is really helpful, actually. Okay, these are actually two very helpful cards because it's about completion. The world card is talking about mastery, mastering something to the point where you have maybe not perfected it, but definitely are an authority on the matter, an authority in the subject. It can be endings, but also new beginnings. It's always both with that card. The ten of Wands. Just to back up a moment. Ten of Wands. You're way overburdened, way overstressed at the moment, and there's more energy moving, so that's good. There's something that instinctively you already knew that you needed to drop, because it's getting toxic. And if it's not getting toxic, it probably has already been toxic. And then underneath the deck, we have this Page of Pentacles. The Page of Pentacles could be talking about quite literally a child. And it's so interesting. I just realized that the toxicity might not actually be with you. It might be with what your child is doing or what your child is eating or what your child is consuming in another way. So yeah, because we're talking about Scorpio fifth house stuff, right? So if you're a Cancer, okay, and you have literal children, you have actual children, then some of this can be literally your stress dealing with your child. And it's so interesting in the chat right now. They're talking about food and detox diets and stuff like that. And I'm just kind of picking up like, how's your child's health doing? Keep in mind that children are even more energetically sensitive than adults are. They're more open. in so many different ways. They're way more easily influenced. And when it comes to what they're eating and what they're consuming electronically, we have to be so much more diligent and vigilant about what we allow to grace them, what we allow to be put in front of them. So be mindful of this. Be mindful of this. It's your job as mama or papa to curate their experience to keep it healthy, right? So this could be a part of what this week's challenges bring. And sometimes you have to use that energy of Mars. Mars is in your sign right now, kind of giving you some lessons about this. Sometimes you need to use that energy of Mars to put the foot down and to separate out the good from the bad. This is what the sword of Mars does, is it separates. Okay, it separates. Whoosh, separates. Um, that's your job. That's your job. Um, and Mars and Cancer also, I just think of the mama bear energy, the I will defend my child to the death energy. Use that. Use that righteous anger. It's there for you to use. It has a purpose. Don't be ashamed of that energy if that's the energy that needs to come out now, right? If that's something that you need to engage in. Um, yeah, wow. I can feel the anger. There you have it. Mm, meat and fruit. Num 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 num. Okay. um, I have anything else to say to Cancer? I don't know. I don't think so. Yeah, Cancer. There's something about it being your job to put a stop to something, and that's what you got to do this week. Okay. Dun 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 dun. Gemini. Gemini. 3 hours, 20 minutes. Let's do a little stretch. Do a little stretch, everybody. Don't forget to stretch. Don't forget to drink your water. Oh, that was good. Don't forget to lovingly tap that like button. If you're new here, welcome. If you've been back a number of times, I like you too. You're cool too. I mostly just I have no idea what to say on these little stretch breaks. Yeah. Don't forget that if you want to book a natal chart reading with me, the best way to do so is through my website, which is kayleebricana.com. There is a link in the description box. You would make my freaking birthday if you you booked a natal chart reading with me. I'd love it. Good, Lacey. I'm glad. You break those cycles. Alrighty. Gemini. So for you guys, Gemini, Scorpio is your sixth house. So this eclipse is lighting up the 6th, 12th house axis, right? So this is a full moon, lunar eclipse in the 6th house. This is something to do with health. Something to do with health or something to do with your daily habits. And I love that we were just literally talking about in the chat ahead of Gemini diets, detox diets, and stuff. As Mars is in your second house right now of what we eat, the things that we put into our body is a second house thing. So I usually talk about values and valuables with the second house, finances specifically, but in reality, it's all of the resources that we need in order to physically support our body, first house. So that includes food, the things that we consume and put into our mouth. Um, so, uh, yeah, with this eclipse, it's not affecting a main. Uh, it's not on an angular house. Angular houses are first, seventh, 10th, and 4th, so it's not likely to be super super impactful. But if it is, right? If it is, then the most likely topics coming up will be something to do with your work-life balance, how you keep yourself healthy through the habits, your daily habits, and specifically if you're eating something or needing to change what you eat or using food to heal the self. Those are quite likely topics to come up. Now, your chart ruler, Mercury, is still retrograde. He's still invisible in your 12th house. So, and with the sun in your 12th house now, since it's Taurus season, be gentle with yourself if you need more time in solitude, right? If you need time away from the public eye, and you're doing more internal things, right? Things that require a little bit more quiet time, that is okay, right? Honor yourself, honor your body, honor what you need in this moment. And yeah, do what you need to do to take care of your mental and physical health, right? This is what the 12th, 6th house axis is really talking about. The physical techniques and the things that you practice on a daily basis, and how that affects our spiritual and our emotional health, our mental health. Big topics with this axis here. So. Oh, thanks, buddy. Okay, so Gemini. So what do we got for Gemini? Well, the Ace of Cups just came out, but I'm not 100% certain if that is was for you or not. So I put it back. If it comes back, then I'll take it. But I'm gonna say you probably need more water. I also realized I forgot to talk about Venus, so I'm just gonna bring that up real quick while I shuffle. So Venus has been in your first house, which is fantastic. So congratulations. Uh, Venus moving through the first house can help us with if we want to improve our appearance or improve how we feel about ourselves in our physical body. Venus can assist with that. As she's moving into Cancer, she's moving into your second house. And, I mean, on one hand, this is likely to inspire a desire for comfort foods. If you haven't already been having that desire for comfort foods with Mars being there, Venus will definitely increase that a little bit. But overall, it's actually really nice. Venus in the second house can assist with like money troubles and stuff like that. Can help you with earning more money, just by the nature of her helping you attract things, right? It can also really help with if you've been struggling a little bit with maybe I think that it is helpful to work with Venus in the second house, moving through Cancer, with being more mindful of what you eat specifically, and taking pleasure in individual spices, or taking pleasure with um, simple recipes and stuff like that. With all this talk about bread, yeah, I know. Right. Major comfort food. Anyway, um, maybe because of this sixth house eclipse and how it's bringing up, um, has the potential to bring up different questions about our health. Uh, and with all of the talk, with all of the talk in the chat, perhaps you can find some like really healthy bread recipes, or healthier bread recipes, or experiment with sourdough, or you know, play with it a little bit, so you're not just going immediately into bad habits. But there's ways to make comfort food um, still comfortable, right? Still Venusian, but the not gonna pull you off of your path, right? Whereas like white bread, don't do it. I tried these like almond flour crackers the other day. They were actually really good. They were pretty decent. Still probably terrible, but it was almond flour, so it felt better psychologically, you know? Okay, so Gemini, you got the World card and the Ace of Pentacles, and then the Nine of Cups. These are freaking excellent cards. What's going on? Underneath the deck is the Seven of Swords. Huh. Reminded me to take your bread out. You're welcome, Mandy. Yeah, you're right. All the pure starches and terrible. Oh yeah. Okay, Gordy. Speaking of awesome recipes, Gordy has this really cool waffle recipe that's basically a cheese. It's basically just a cheese waffle. It's fucking delicious. It's really good. Okay, so anyway, Gemini. You got the World card, you got the Ace of Pentacles, and the Nine of Cups. I love this Nine of Cups card. He's like smug and satisfied. He's like, yeah, I am the shit. Thank you very much. Uh, I'm very satisfied. Thank you very much. This is like the ultimate in comfort foods. Like, yep, that's right. I did eat that cheese, and you know what? It was the best. It was the fanciest, crumbliest cheddar ever, and it was so good. That's the Nine of Cups. Oh, I did make chaffles. They were so good. Yeah. Okay, but anyway, world card again. Is this not like the third sign that got the world card? Huh. And then Ace of Pentacles, second sign with the Ace of Pentacles. Okay, so this is straight up. This is Venus moving into your second house, and this interplay with the second house here. Um, Something that you've been practicing, or something that you have been doing for yourself on a daily basis, some habit that you have, you're realizing you're onto a new phase of life, and you just need to move away from that habit and create new habits, right? Perhaps even there's been a new habit that you've tried to initiate recently, and you're just kind of getting the hang of it, and it's not quite perfectly perfected yet, but that's okay. Like, that's the nature of the sixth house, is practice. You keep practicing it. But anyway, maybe you're realizing with this eclipse that there is one more habit that you need to phase out and get out of your life, so that you have more room and more time to engage in the other things that you actually really want to do. I love the Ace of Pentacles coming in here. I feel like this is perhaps even a realization of, hey, I actually spend a lot of money doing this one thing when I could actually be saving that money and doing something totally different. or yeah, just not spending money on something is like, wow, I actually am so rich right now. And I also feel like this is um reflecting Venus moving into the second house as well. It's like, oh, yes, I actually am very abundant. Thank you very much. And all of the stress I've been feeling, while warranted and while it helped get me off my ass, now I can switch a little bit of my perspective here and begin to receive more. And then, of course, we got the Nine of Cups, which is this beautiful, satisfied, kind of smug energy that I am totally here for. Now, underneath the deck, we've got this really interesting card, the Seven of Swords. Now, I'm just gonna say, right, the Seven of Swords is not always somebody cheating, somebody lying. It's usually just trying to outwit somebody or something, right? Um, it is something to kind of like ponder momentarily, though. It's like, because we have a bunch of stuff going on in your 12th house, right? The 12th house is often associated with like hidden enemies and things of that nature. Um, but also like ways that you self sabotage, right? So maybe one of these habits that you need to phase out of your life is actually something that you use as an excuse to not better yourself in another area, or it's has something to do with a story perhaps that you're telling yourself, some kind of mentality that you need to let go of that's limiting in some way. um Yeah, because it could be really easily to like psych yourself out of things, or tell yourself that you can't improve in some area because of some blank reason. Um, so perhaps this is what's going on with you, Gemini, and I think the Kazemi today, is really helping you see exactly where you've been limiting yourself, where you've been self sabotaging. Um, and this eclipse is going to help you clear out the habits that you have that are tied to exactly that thing that you're realizing. And moving through this is going to assist you in straight up increasing your own self worth, right? Increasing your own sense of value. Um, and therefore also increasing your physical worth, your physical value. Um, yeah, I like that. That's cool. Fathead cheese breads. Yeah, I'm not sure what fathead cheese breads are, but that does sound lovely. Just cheese bread. Sounds fucking lovely. Okay. Taurus. Oh gosh. Just all Taurus season. We're just talking about just pure food stuff. Just the whole time. Oh my gosh. Okay, Taurus. Taurus. Dun dun dun. Bull gang. Okay. So for you guys, this eclipse is happening in your seventh house. Dun dun dun. So this is one of the signs that's experiencing this in an angular house, right? So this is going to quite likely going to be more personal for you guys. Now, eclipse in the seventh house, full moon, Scorpio, south node eclipse in the house of partnerships. Damn, something's going down to do specifically with partnerships. Quite literally, there could be one that is coming to an end and that is being eclipsed out. But keep in mind always that endings are always beginnings, right? Now, it could be somebody that there actually quite likely could be a really important conversation that happens that really needs to happen, right? Mars in the third house, as the host of this eclipse, or something that's actually happening through social media, some kind of social media endeavor or project with somebody, and like that's what's ending. Um, but yeah, I mean, just what exactly I said, endings are beginnings. So always keep that in mind. Um, Venus is moving into your third house shortly after the eclipse. Super positive. Venus is your ruling planet. So, since she has been in the second house in Gemini, there's been more of a focus on like what you're earning. And as I kind of mentioned with the previous sign, the second house can be associated with the food that you're eating as well. But anyway, this is a major house of survival. So, Taurus, you've been focused on survival. How do I make it work? How do I make enough to support myself physically? As Venus is moving into the third house, your focus is going to be shifting on, okay, now how do I extend myself into my neighborhood? How do I refine these skills and maybe even learn some or pick up some new skills in order to continue to support yourself? Um, yeah. Kaboom! What's up, buddy? Bull gang in the house. Uh, what else is going on for you guys? Yeah, I mean, just congratulate yourself for making it through this period of eclipses in the first seventh house. I mean, we got obviously there's a couple more eclipses before the end of the year, but this is the last lunar eclipse in Scorpio. Okay, the next ones are going to be Libra, right? So we're shifting. We're shifting. So congratulations, Taurus. You made it through a really kind of intense period, right? Having eclipses on your first seventh axis is not an easy task. It causes major changes, especially with Uranus being here too. And fixed signs in general, but especially Taurus, they don't like massive changes too quickly. So that's a lot to adjust to. So pat yourself on the back, give yourself a hug, whatever whatever you need to do, because you made it through. And you're about to complete some pretty big transformations. So good job. I'm sure that you have picked up a ton of new skills through this time period, and I hope that you are ready to continue to learn more of those new skills, but also to share with others, right? Um, if conversations lately have been more difficult because of Mars being in the third house, Venus moving here is going to help smooth some of those over. Um, yeah, I think that's all I got for Taurus right now. I know I love Taurus season 2. It's the best. It is the best. I'm not biased or anything though. I'm a little bit biased. This Mercury retrograde through Taurus, I have been going back to sometimes old videos or old techniques or old scents, even old emotion, old essential oils and stuff that I've used in the past. That I like. Sometimes I just, I move on and I like using different things. But I don't know, I felt it. I felt that it has been really nice, a nice practice. I love soup. I love soup too. A nice practice to go back to some of the things that I used to use for embodiment practices that I stopped using. Um, to just kind of re-explore those things and re-engage with those things. So Taurus, what have we got for cards for you? Whoa. Oh, French onion soup is the bomb. Mm. Temperance. Hold on one. Okay, sorry. Temperance. Okay. What are we tempering? Is it our love for soup? For real though, is it? um. Oh man. Yeah. Venus having gone through the second house. Like I said about comfort foods, that's legit. Um. I don't know though. What exactly are we tempering? With temperance, this is a card of alchemy, of breaking things apart into their opposite components and then recombining them to make something better and more beautiful. Um, you may be going through an experience with your partner if you have a partner, if you're engaged or living with somebody, you're married or whatever the fuck, or a business partner, where there might have been like some kind of this emotion of separation. It might not be a permanent thing though, right? Sometimes you need to pull apart a little bit and then come back together. Um, what's that phrase? What's that saying? Distance makes the heart grow fonder. Anyway, you're a team, right? You're supposed to be a team. Uh, no fucking way. You're supposed to be a team, right? So sometimes, though, sometimes those team members might need to go and do their own thing for a little bit, right? Doesn't mean that it's permanent. Doesn't mean that it's gonna always stay that way. But allowing allowing each other to do their own thing keeps those people happy, right? It keeps you happy. One partner cannot be the end all be all of all things all of the time. It doesn't fucking work like that, and that's a really unhealthy way to relate anyway. So I kind of get this sense of like there needing to be some like a little bit of separateness in order to come back together again. And the cards freaking just reflected that in the craziest way possible. We got the world card again. Okay, so temperance, and then the world card, and then the two of cups. So what is that? Literally, what was I saying? Um, there might need to be some separateness, some separate energy, some boundaries, right? This is a card of Saturn after all. Um, and some temporary, maybe not temporary endings, but temporary, just temporary separateness in order to come back together again. So that's what I'm getting. Yeah, the ability to pursue your own interests, to pursue your own skills, to pursue your own education, to pursue your own all of the things. Sometimes that's what's needed in order to make the team stronger, right? So, things to keep in mind. Things to keep in mind. Yeah, take a day. Take a personal day from your partnership. I love that. That's perfect. Y'all are still talking about food. Oh my god. uh, yeah. Oh, Thunder Chicken, what's up? Yeah, you're late, dude. I just pulled for Taurus. 3 hours and 45 minutes in. Oh my god. I think this is one of the longest ones. Um yeah, I think there might have been one or two that I did with Rachel that went this long, but that's a Monday stream for you guys. Do I have to start earlier? Like I might need to actually start earlier or just talk less. But like good luck getting me to talk less. So, yeah. Yeah, time is an illusion anyways. Fuck it. Especially with tools like where like fucking YouTube where you can go back and listen to what I perceive as the past in the future. Like it's craziness. Anyway, Taurus, these are pretty cool cards. I'm not gonna lie. There's something inherently fated about the universe card and karmic about the universe card. And karma is a word that we kind of throw around, especially in new age circles. It's not a bad thing at all. It's simply the consequences of previous actions, right? And they can be good consequences. Okay? They can be good consequences. They don't have to be bad consequences. Um it's just simply the result of something that we did previously. And I just get an aw kind of kind of feeling with this Temperance 2 of Cups with the World card kind of thing. It's like yeah, take that personal day, take that personal time, allow yourself um allow and demand for yourself this personal development as well, right? Because the stronger you are individually, the stronger you'll be together. Um, and then yeah, the Two of Cups is just it's fucking beautiful. I love it. Yeah, beautiful cards, Taurus. Also, happy birthday. Happy motherfucking birthday. I'm stoked. Can you tell I'm stoked? I'm stoked. It's gonna be a cool year. Okay, Aries. Aries. Ba, 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 ba. Just saving the best for last. No big deal. No big deal. All the Aries just lose their shit that they're last. And like, how do you think Pisces feels? Okay, so Aries. So for you guys, thanks. Thanks, Ruma. Gotta like mentally add the vowel into your name. Ah, okay. So for you guys, obviously, this is an 8th house eclipse. So again, not this is not an eclipse that's on the most personal axis of the chart, but still potentially fairly impactful, right? Especially since Mars is in your 4th house. So pretty much for all of the fire signs, you guys are experiencing a similar flavor with this eclipse. It's touching on something deep, primordial, and ancient, and psychological and subconscious. That's what the water houses are for people that are belonging to the fire tribe if they have a fire sign rising. Right, so this eclipse is happening in the 8th house of our deepest psychology, the occult, hidden matters, shared resources, and things that are altogether hidden from you and unexpected, but cause transformation. The 8th house, the 8th house is what we think will kill us, but will actually completely transform us. That cause us to go through a rebirth. Right. 4th house is hidden desires, hidden feelings, our ancestry, how our mother or our father impacted us on the deepest levels. So pretty not light topics, right? Not light topics. Now the eclipse being in the 8th house, this can quite literally just bring to the surface like what resources you're sharing with other people, or what other people's resources are being shared with you, inheritances and stuff like that. Quite literally, I wouldn't be surprised if there were Aries out there that were receiving property as an inheritance, or vice versa. They have a property that they received, and now they got to pay out 1 billion taxes for it. Like, you know, it can kind of go either way depending on how your personal chart is set up, and different things that's happening in your own lives. But anyway, they're not easy topics to deal with. On an emotional level, this is a fantastic time if you can and you have somebody that you trust to go see some kind of psychic or a therapist or something to talk about the ancestral wounds, right? The ancestral stuff that's coming up. As Aries rising, since Mars is your chart ruler, this is an important eclipse for you, really. You've been focused more on ancestral stuff, or focused more on your roots and where you're living, and how where you're living impacts your health, and how where you're living impacts the kind of life that you want to live. um this can also be like you dealing with different stuff with your parents, right? Like if one of your parents is going through a difficult time, this could be all of a sudden realizing I need to support them financially, and how am I going to do that, right? Um, there's lots of ways that this can play out, but ultimately at the end of the day, ultimately at the end of the day, um, we need to consider what we can manage um, ourselves, and what we might need help with managing, and outsourcing stuff if we need to outsource it, right? Now Venus is about to move into your fourth house right after the eclipse, which is fantastic energy. Venus is going to assist as a soothing balm with an M on the end, not a B on the end, motherfuckers. Is going to assist in the home life a little bit. You might be inspired to beautify some areas of your home. And you know what, actually, because Venus is actually a considered by the Vedic by the Indians, by Vedic astrology, to be the counselor of the demons. Um, Venus moving into the fourth house, ruling the seventh house, there might be somebody that, you might be getting a second opinion from somebody about something that's going on at home, and that can be very soothing, and assist with some of the more difficult aspects of this eclipse. Now, it doesn't have to be all negative and all scary stuff, right? These are kind of more spiritual houses. So this could really be just you taking an opportunity to really dive into the deep ancestral stuff, and just take a look. What's there exactly? This could be a discovery mission, right? Rather than things happening to you, you can use this energy as an opportunity for you to do a little bit of digging and a little bit of diving. What are some family secrets, right? I mentioned earlier about how when when a woman is born, she has all of her eggs that she will ever have, right? She has all of her eggs when she's born. Um, so when she is being carried in her mother's womb, those eggs are forming while she's being carried by her mom, right? So your grandmother, you are physically connected to your grandmother in a really deep way. And those of you watching live, you already heard this, I know, but for the people that just skip to their sign, it's important that I say it again because it's coming up. So, when you do any kind of psychological, emotional, ancestral healing, you're healing everybody in your line that comes after you, and you're healing everybody in your line that came before you as well. It's deep stuff, and it's important stuff. But I thought Leo was best. Fair enough. uh, oh, Andy, enjoy the food. Enjoy the food. Okay. So Aries. So what do we got for cards for you, Aries? Every time I think about Aries and like what would Aries do, I'm just like, what would be the hero mode thing to do? Just go hero mode all of the time. I think of Chance, actually. I'm like, what would Chance do? Oh man, they all got turned around again. Okay. Fuck it. All right, Aries, talk to me. What do we got? Oh, Two of Cups again. I love this. Venus moving into Cancer is literally this cup. Venus in Cancer. Okay, so Four of Pentacles, Two of Cups. There's stuff that you're holding on to that is soon as you let it go, is going to be immediately soothed and rewarded. Um, be vulnerable. Don't be afraid to be vulnerable with the people that you can trust, right? Will always be people around you that you can trust. Um, of course, sometimes that requires a little bit of discernment. There's the King of Swords. It requires a little bit of discernment, right? And it's really important that you don't trust everybody with everything all at once, or one particular person with everything all at once. You do it in little bits at a time and see what they can be trusted with, right? This is how we learn, and this is how we gain trust slowly over time in a healthy way. With the Four of Pentacles, I just get this sense of like constipation, like spiritual constipation, and like there's the need for Aries to release something, and it could physically be uncomfortable, literally. Good night, Ruma. It could literally be physically uncomfortable, but it's time to let go, right? It's time to let go of something. And then the Two of Cups comes in. That's really beautiful. This really, again, it just shows me that there's somebody and something that you can trust. And this is about cultivating that trust and cultivating that vulnerability, or cultivating the ability to be vulnerable with people, right? And then, of course, with the King of Swords, I mean, I think I already said it quite succinctly. In that it's important to be discerning, right? To think clearly and logically about who we're going to trust, who we're going to share sensitive information with. And the King of Swords is able to do that. He's able to think several steps in advance. But don't let that linear mindedness, don't let that martial attitude of yours get in the way of you sharing and being vulnerable with the people that deserve that vulnerability from you. Okay, Aries. I don't know. I feel like this is pretty straightforward. Um, this is about the ability to be intimate and the ability to cut people off if you need to. But also, I don't know, I get a sense of bravery as well. Especially if I look underneath the deck, there's the Knight of Wands. There's this feeling of like being brave and going hero mode and doing things even if they're scary, right? And yeah, bravery isn't about not being scared. Bravery is about doing the thing anyway, even if you're scared, or especially in the face of that fear, even. Okay. All right, my friends. I love you guys. I hope you have a lovely week. I hope that this eclipse is everything that you need in the moment to help get your ass in gear in some way or another. Um, yeah, reach out if you need anything, and I will be back again, definitely on Monday, but I might do some live readings later this week. We'll see. Um, specifically about Venus moving into a new sign, maybe. I don't know. I haven't exactly figured out what I want to do yet. But anyway, love you guys. Thank you. I will have a good birthday week, and have a great week, you guys. Cheers.